The meeting of the Rutland Town Select Board. This is our regular meeting, but we're starting early so we can set the tax rate. And from here, we will then move into a number of items, including a public hearing on our subdivision bylaw. But we'll get to all of that in a few minutes. So if you would, it is Tuesday, July 28th. It is 5:45. And we have present Joe Denardo, Mary Ashcroft, and Matt Getty. Sharon Russell is ill. Kurt Hathaway is way up in the mountains on a project. So there's the three of us. We have a quorum. Please rise and join me for the pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So we'll hold on the usual thing. We'll go right into setting the tax rate, which is what is on for 5:30. All yours, Kari.
Sure. So prior to the starting to record, I handed out 2 of our normal calculation sheets that are our tax rate sheets we use every year to come up with town rate and a total tax rate. You have 2. And we're only going to refer to one based on what you as a select board interpret or meant for this figure to happen. But the variable is the excavator amount of money. Based on how our ballot was written and based on how our minutes were interpreted when we were talking about the excavator for this year. So my question when making this was, and the difference in between the two, is the full amount of what was on the ballot in March that we asked voters, which would be 165,000. I can, just a second. And then the second option is the actual amount.
Okay, so this is Article 22. Shall the voters of the town of Rutland authorize the purchase of a new excavator and trailer for the highway department of the town of Rutland with the total estimated purchase price is $165,000 to be paid for by raising taxes in the amount of $165,000 and no hundreds dollars. Okay.
I thought we worded it different.
Yeah, up to, we did, I was looking for that. Okay.
So, and that, that can be interpreted differently, whoever's reading it. We looked up the minutes. I think you guys still have the minutes, and the minutes are slightly better and clearer.
This is your motion.
Yes.
So minutes from March 24th, Dave was discussing.
Wouldn't have been March 24th.
March 24th.
Oh, that, okay, this was the purchase. I was thinking the motion to put it on the ballot.
Let's see. The first bullet says any deficit will be covered by the carryover balance. For the next fiscal year, the exact amount needed can be raised and credited back to the new equipment line. Any surplus would go back to the carryover line at the end of the next fiscal year. It goes on to talk about the bid price, and then the bullet, the next bullet is after discussion, Selectman Denardo moved to approve the purchase of the excavator for $127,619.46 and trailer for $18,907 for a total of $146,526.46 as quoted, with the funds to come from the highway department new equipment line. This amount will be reimbursed from taxes in the next fiscal year.
So I'll go with this 146. Do we need a motion to go with
Why
that
don't we
number?
do that?
I'll make a motion that we use the $146,526.46 in our calculation of tax rate to purchase excavator purchase price.
Motion's been made and seconded. I will observe that since we're raising less in taxes, it's probably a good motion. Most people would like it.
Well,
So, all in favor, unless there's further discussion, all in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye, motion carries 3-0. So we're using 146, 526.
probably doesn't make more than a cent or two difference, but it does.
Still,
But still,
That
we
is
want
the
to be
point that we
true,
need to-
exactly,
yes.
we want to do what we wanted.
And I do
Intended.
remember a little while ago, I'd asked you about how we were going to pay that back and how to do that.
Yeah,
And if we have more money than we needed, then that creates an issue on this. So.
okay, so Kari's gonna walk us through.
As best as I always
Yeah.
can through this calculation of numbers. All right, so let's see. Starting at the top on the left, as we do on the front page, we anticipate certain revenues. So our local options this year that we budgeted for, we were anticipating a little slightly higher. I plugged in the amount that we agreed upon, which is 1.4 million. And then aside from that 1.4 million, in addition to that, and what was on the ballot, everything else, yeah. In one of those weeks, was the rest of the income 479,050. So our anticipated revenue is 1.4.
Well, actually, it's not.
It's
stated.
not exactly, yeah. So this is where it gets incredibly confusing, and I'm still not wonderful with it. So Matt, I know you had a little bit of it figured out before the meeting, but essentially what I have to do is take the ballot items that are passed in March, which are all the appropriations, and include those right off the top, because we know that we are going to be paying those right out throughout the year. Article 22 is included as 146 as the excavator. The other item that you'll notice right below as we move down the page, it's highlighted in yellow, and this is a slight difference than last year and the year before. We now our reserves are depleted for the Center Rutland bond payments that we kind of set aside for quite some time. So we now have to go out to the taxpayers and ask them for that money for the Center Rutland bond payments during the year. And that is the difference that you'll see on this sheet. Last year, we did include on this sheet to ask taxpayers for the bond payments, interest and principal for the public safety building. But in addition to that, we're adding Center Rutland. So Center Rutland's payments, and these were verified for us. Center Rutland is $116,530.60, and the public safety bond, remember, is shorter than it's 10 years. So it's going to be more. It's $316,268.40 for a total of $432,799. And those are things that we have to take into account into our tax rate. So basically, I'll walk you through. I plug these numbers that are known and passed from March in. And our budget numbers that were passed for each department in March as well are entered on this side, of the left hand, of the front cover. So I have police budget that was passed, highway budget that was passed, fire and rec that I plug in. That includes their income, so it's a net total. The general is the kind of like the fluctuating part each year and how it absorbs some of the costs of the appropriations. And this is where, Matt, you might want to chime in. But
I couldn't quantify them.
Yep.
I would get to the net general number.
Yep.
Which we were starting to get to
Yes.
before we rudely interrupted by having to actually start the meeting. So
He
now
went,
I'm-
you had it down.
yeah, I was
pretty
almost
clear.
there. Now I'm
Yeah.
lost again. But so going back to the top, it's implied here that the total income is 1.879. General.
Yes.
So the line that says general is our actual general budget number. So when you subtract that, you end up, I think with this adjusted general thing, it's, in
It's hard to,
parentheses,
yeah.
is really suggesting
Yeah.
there's a, when you subtract the general budgeted expense from the income, there's a surplus.
Right.
So then you gotta subtract all these appropriations, which total 329.
Yes.
Okay, so that would leave you with just over 100,000. And then there's bond payments, which total 432. So the 317 then is the amount remaining that needs to be raised after.
Is what I understand.
That would probably make sense if
I would agree with you. And as 7 years I've been doing this, that's the most difficult part of this entire thing,
Yeah.
is how general meshes into it all. So I can tell he's verifying certain numbers. Well, while he's verifying, one of the biggest numbers that figures that drives this is our grand list figure, that we patiently wait for during this time of year. And it's nice to report that our grand list number increased from last year.
Yeah.
And that's always a good thing.
Mhm.
So for those that can't see, it's 10,803,823.17
Yes.
that's driving every other figure that's on this sheet. So we take that number and we use it to figure out exactly how much tax we need to tax each person in the town, based on the amount that we budgeted and got approved for in March. And that's what the rest of the half of this page is for. So basically all of this, and then we take into consideration the depreciation accounts as well. How much do we have to raise in taxes so that we can put the money aside for each depreciation account for each department? It's all taken into consideration. I want to note that in March, the fire department did ask, and it was approved for the depreciation account to be increased from $0.0175 to 2 cents on every 100.
Yes,
I think that's how
it's that number.
it's that number.
We usually follow it up when we try
It's,
to explain it.
Article 21.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's why the Article 21 up in the corner is blank, because that had nothing to do with.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that has been changed. So basically, the next page is how much we are going to be asking in taxes in dollar amount, including to be raised for the school. What people need to know is we are using a set tax rate for the education that is given to us by the state for homestead and non-homestead. That's something that we do not have any control over. So my next portion in this is to enter those into this calculation. You can see that at the end, halfway through on the second page, this year we will ask taxpayers for $15,119,415.20 to reach our budget goals, depreciation and regular departments, as well as the school. And so the school is driven again by the education rate and a grand list rate that is given to me after, okay. It's given to me after the grand list has been lodged. So now for the fun part, everybody's wondering what this actually means. What it means is this year we will be having an increase in taxes as we anticipated, not unlike the rest of the state of Vermont, feeling the increase in taxes. Joey, is there anything that I can get for you?
No, it was I'm just.
Are you looking for the other page?
One year we did the, budgets and we forgot to deduct.
Yep,
The,
I know.
From the highway budget.
I
That's the one
remember.
that's 120,000.
Mhm.
And I was just checking the amount on the ballot is the same amount here, which means we deducted the 120 from Dave's. I don't remember what the actual budget, his budget. And these are the amounts to be raised by taxes. So this is why I was trying to figure over here. So you wrote in, it says, I'm assuming it says highway with anticipated income.
Correct. And I believe what I'm understanding is underneath, I do enter that figure that says carryover, but it does not. It's
That
just
doesn't-
for information
Right.
purposes only.
So if I'm correct, the highway budget is actually 1,331,000.
Mm-mm.
If it isn't, we did it wrong.
No, didn't do it wrong.
You don't think so?
No.
Yeah. That's the amount there, but I just don't see where we deducted the.
That was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So that should have been in play for last year, I'm assuming, not this year.
Well, I do know that one. Is used. I'm a little confused, so I will tell you that. 320, okay. The actual budget is 1.5 million,
Mhm.
and then the grants are a total of 320.
Mhm.
Yes.
We're good then.
I'm just double checking.
Good, thank you.
created-
That's what I want.
Yes.
So even though that says with anticipated income, it's actually the anticipated income has been deducted from the amount we're raising.
Correct. The same, well, the same for each department.
Right,
That's the same for each
it's the
department.
amount to be raised by taxes
Yes.
is the total budget less the income.
So the increase on the municipal side is basically it's center Rutland, it's the excavator.
Cause
Yes.
we're in, so the bond payment for the public safety building, we're into year 2, right?
Yes.
Paid one, we're in
Yes.
year 2, so when you look at this, we only got 8 years left.
It's year 2, but the first year we paid interest, so it might be year 2 of principal and interest. It might be the third year of interest.
Yeah, I'm not
I
sure.
can't remember.
And then just for my benefit and anybody that might be listening, the Center Rutland Station, do you know how many years are left on that one?
Don't know how many years. It was 2013.
So, and that was a 20,
Was-
was it a 20 year? I
It
think it's
was-
a 20
I'm
year.
not sure.
Yeah, I
I
think it's
won't.
20 years we did. So basically we got 7, we'll
Yeah,
have 7
that
payments.
sounds about right.
I think one was 20 and we decided to go 10, to cut the interest, even though the payments are higher, the interest will.
On the
save-
PSP?
On the public safety.
Oh,
will
yeah,
save a
I
ton
knew
of
that
money.
one, yeah. I wasn't
So I
here.
think, so this is like the first of 7 payments on the center. But it was 23.
Okay, so let's see. I was on the second page.
Good, you were interrupted.
No, it's totally fine. So I believe I was talking a little bit about the school rate and it coming from the state. I will just put on record what each are, and what the change was from last year. Again, something we cannot control. So this year, the school rate for Homestead is 1.5659. Last year, it was 1.3765 for a 13.76 increase for this year. Homestead.
Well,
Joey,
it's still lower than 2024. You should point, it's in 2024, the tax rate for school was 1.5727. So even though it's gone up from last year, it's down from 2 years ago. So it's still a lesser rate.
I love your optimism.
You gotta look at it.
that's not cool.
We-
But the non-homestead on the third page, this year, the school rate is 1.9056. Last year was 1.6902 for an increase of 12.74%. Again, if you're looking at 24-25, you're right. Similar, but actually more than 24-25. And then I'd like to flip back to the front page. After putting all of this in, we come to get a town rate and adding all of those together in with the school and the local agreement, which is kind of like the taxes that we put forth for nonprofits and such like that, people that don't pay taxes, that are supposed to not pay taxes, not the delinquent people. We are getting a homestead total tax rate. This is the total tax rate of 1.8737 and a total non-homestead rate of 2.2134. Compared to last year, I have that. Yes, I do. The second page, it does not have the box around it. Down in the left-hand corner. Last year's homestead total tax rate was 1.6501. Again, this year is 1.8737. Non-homestead last year was 1.9638. This year, 2.2134. And what that means is about roughly a 13% tax increase on our taxes that we are paying the town. For everything, for school,
Yeah.
for us. What that then means is, so I took my home, which is average. And then we also kind of took a home that was higher in assessment value than my home. And what I am gathering is per 100,000, you'll be having to increase your taxes by roughly $250 to $275 per 100,000 of assessed value. So I need to set aside $550 extra this year. My home is worth right now, 236,000. So based on that, $550 extra. So I encourage taxpayers to think ahead. This is not just for Rutland Town. This is the entire state is feeling this. If you actually look at the calculation sheet, if you look at the town portion, and I feel like this is very important, the town portion of this did not increase, but only 2 cents. I believe how you say it is 2 cents on the dollar. From last year, the town rate. So our budgeting process was on. I mean, we really did what we could do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you were to ask me what is driving this, what is the main factor to drive such an increase, it is the school rate that we cannot control. Because just alone, that is going up 12.75%.
Okay, questions for Kari, and then we need a motion to approve the tax rate.
Can I ask a question from the gallery? Will you include a business personal property tax in this?
Is where it says grand list.
So I know the assessed value for business personal property last year, I think it's the combination of the municipal and the local agreement for the rate that is assessed. So I just don't know if you did, because I know we've got that number set aside on our tax sheets.
Yeah.
I just didn't know if you actually put it on the record.
I have never,
Okay.
but I'm happy to add whatever's needed.
So are you saying it's not included in this grand list figure?
The grand list figure does have the business
It
personal
includes
property
the
included
assessed
in that.
value and the grand list
Yes.
value for business personal property.
Okay.
But they have a tax rate that's different than,
Okay.
they don't pay the full non-homestead, they don't pay the full homestead, they pay the municipal rate on business personal, and I believe it's the local agreement combined. That's what I understood.
So Marie, can I just ask you, are you asking, which I'm happy to do, to put it on record what that might be?
Yes. Because I think our business personal property taxpayers should have that opportunity to hear that as well.
Absolutely. So you're saying that they go by the town rate plus the local agreement?
Correct.
Okay. Well, let me just figure
Thank
this out. And for those of you that are listening now or later, the town rate for homestead is 0.3064. And the local agreement for homestead, which I'm adding to it, is 0.0013. Or a total of, for homestead, 0.3077. Again, this will be for business personal property, homestead. For non-homestead business personal property, I am going to add the town rate, which is the same, 0.3064. It's going to be the same.
It's the same.
Yeah. And the local agreement is also the same, 0.0013. So for both homestead and non-homestead business personal property, we're looking at 0.3077 as their rate.
Very good, thank you.
You're welcome.
Other questions? Then perhaps a motion.
That's all.
Is that a motion?
I move that we accept the tax rate as presented to us by Kari.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the tax rate schedule as prepared by Kari and presented tonight. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 3-0. So I have a clean top sheet.
That would be
You
lovely
don't
if you
do
wanna
these,
do,
you don't do the bottom sheets, do you?
I have plenty of copies.
Okay.
You can
Why don't
take it
we
off the
just-
top and start signing away.
So, you know, I don't know if everybody knows, but you should, or might help it, explain how you arrive at the grants. What that actually, I mean, it's, isn't it, well, it's 1% of the value of the town, right? Am I correct in that? Marie? The real estate property, personal property, but they are added, I believe added together, and then the grand list is 1% of the actual value of everything in town.
That's value, yeah,
Most people don't know how you arrive at it.
right, so.
So that's 1/100 of what the town's worth. The business property and the personal.
On the tax, yes,
So, you know. As we increase the grand list, it should help the other way, but I don't think it ever catches up.
I was just gonna say, Joe, usually we do see that trend. But then there's things that we can't control that are kind of stuck in there that
Yep.
got it all convoluted.
Okay.
So I encourage any questions that people may have
Too
to
late.
call the select
Too
board.
late.
Well, you know, everybody gets terrified every time you talk to your appraiser. Because so, you know, some taxes will go up and there will be an adjustment and we've seen that. But as the town is reappraised and that tax rate goes up. The tax rate actually, your property value will go up, but the tax rate goes down some because the grand list goes up. It's a kind of a reverse scale for a while. And because, you know, I think we're behind with our appraisals, we're getting bit a little bit. I don't know how that affects, I don't know how you would explain how that affects the actual numbers, but I suppose it's out there somewhere. Once you got the state of Vermont involved with it, I lost. Track of all we got here.
Okay. So we have done A under action items. We did set the tax rate. Since we're going to go into the rest of our agenda, we do have a 6:30. So we've got about 12 minutes that we can, Kari, since you're right there and you did all of this heavy lifting, do you want to give the town clerk's report?
Sure, I can make it quick and sweet, really.
Okay.
Just basically two things. I handed you our general estimation of the end of the fiscal year for 26, June 30th, and what that looked like overall. And this, I want to say this does not include Cortina fund money that's still there.
Okay.
So this is just the money that we collected and spent out. Real quick, I'm not going to go over this entire thing. Some people, stayed really close with their budget. Some people are giving back and I say giving back, it ends up sweeping over to the capital improvements, but some departments have a lot that was not spent. So it looks like, average, we did pretty good. If all comes out nicely during the audit, about $263,000 being swept to the capital improvements. Honestly, we like to see that number 0, but life happens, and I don't think that that's ever going to be that way. But
some of that though is the excess 1%, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we had 316,000 of excess 1% money.
it's all
over
taken
what we
into account here. Yes.
What we anticipated, so. The fact that it appears we used some of that to offset some negative. We had treated based on what.
Yep. But the audit's still,
Yeah.
it's just beginning for this year. And they are well aware of, and I say they, and Peisch is well aware of how we wanted the money to be used for Cortina funds through all of our committee meetings and all of our select board meetings. They keep abreast of all of that. They talk to me, they talk to all of the department heads. So this is without adjustments. So this is just the quick and dirty.
Yep.
What I know at the end of the year.
So I just have one question on the highway. So the adjusted carryover for highway is 95,412.
Mhm.
That's after the excavator payment.
That was after the
Okay.
excavator
So-
payment. So when we,
That's like in taxes, you will decide how you put that 146,000 back in the carryover.
correct.
So they will have.
Correct, but also I did have conversations with, I think that over the time you guys wanted to make sure that the carryover didn't exceed a certain amount, right?
The idea with some people think that's a good idea. My personal opinion is, yeah, if there was a half, $750,000 in it, it's too much, but given the fluctuations on winter maintenance, which is always a crisis.
Mhm.
Having a couple $100,000 that isn't earmarked for somewhere is okay. You know, and based on how we calculate those amounts into the tax rate, you'll probably put about 50,000 of tax payment in the back end and do it over 3. Instead of doing it
Yeah,
all at once.
yeah.
That's what I asked you before, how, this is my first time of a purchase.
Trying to
How we
replace something
replace
like
money.
that. Yeah.
I think what the minutes said was that the funds of credits and equipment line.
Equipment line.
So it would be the end of this fiscal year before we determine what actually goes into the carrier.
Yeah, we took, so
Right,
Dave's
I think
equipment line was overspent by
Right,
146,000.
That I have to do.
To make, so, you know,
Yes.
cause you can't just take that 146 out of nowhere. You have to put a number with it so you know where it came from.
Yeah.
And I don't believe carryover has a number.
It doesn't, so we
No.
took it out of the new equipment
Right.
line.
And then it'll go back, but essentially it'll go back
It'll
into the
net.
carryover.
It may not be exactly the same as the end of the fiscal year, whatever the carryover is.
Right, but the 146 that paid for the excavator came out of carryover, so it was credited to that, so the carryover was credited or whatever you call it, debit 146, so it's gotta go back to carryover.
I think,
But AM,
I was just gonna say, well, the thing is that not really. So, but it's always good to have them. I think what I encourage, you know, how we sit down with them when they discuss things with us. Let's bring this up, and it'll be at the top of the list anyway to talk about, but let's bring it up to them so that they can make the appropriate adjustments that we wanted to intend to happen. Because I know it's ultimately what we discussed, you guys discussed. So there's that at a quick glance.
Thank you.
And then, just reminding people that we do have an August primary in a couple of weeks. And this is the primary to determine who's going to be on the ballot for November. Regular polling places are set up. I am getting poll workers together to man those stations. We do have some lovely volunteers that have graciously outreached, so it was great. So if you need an absentee ballot, call me, let me know. I can get that to your home or wherever. November election, just giving you guys a heads up, it is the election that they are sending ballots out to every voter that's active in Rutland town and all the towns. So keep that in mind for any purpose.
Yeah.
That's a thing that they so for example, I've got some correspondence from the election division that anything supplemental would be, for example, if we had to do something in November that's extra, that is not something that the state deals with. We would locally deal with that, and it would be on our dime.
So that was what confused me about the exchange of emails. So first of all, justices of the peace, even though it's local,
They're on the state
they're
ballot
on the state ballot.
because
so
of
we're
how
good.
early you got, that's a thing.
Okay,
And how early that you
All right.
each brought me that, so I tell them and they put it on the ballot.
okay. And so it all gets mailed out by the state.
Yeah,
Don't worry about
But
that.
anything else is on us.
Okay,
I thought they said,
Pretty
not
complicated.
right, it's I thought they said if we
I
got
know.
it to them by a certain amount of time and on the back of the ballot.
That's the JPs. The JPs will be on the
But
back
if
of
there's
the
The email was more broadly worded. than-
Did you get a certain email? Cause, forward that to me, cause I will give you the one I got.
Yeah.
You gave it to him?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
We said we did it.
You know, the things from the state, I mean, each
So-
person interprets.
So if we did have a local question,
Yeah,
you would print up the ballots.
from my understanding,
Okay. At our expense, we run them off on the photocopier
unless Matt has something.
and they would be
They,
distributed, but you wouldn't have to townwide mail them out.
I think it's up to the select board to, didn't it say
This
that you
is-
would have to
This-
make a motion?
here's what they said,
Okay,
and this is hard to read because it's like
yeah,
formatted, so you have to scroll sideways, but local ballot option says you are not required to have your JPs and or local public questions on the back of the general election ballot. If you prefer, you may create a separate ballot for your local election that includes your JPs and or local public questions. Scroll. Approval by legislative body. If you do want to include your local public questions on the back of the general election ballot, your legislative body must approve mailing a ballot to all active, not challenged voters. This is because our office mails absentee ballots to all qualified voters for general elections. So my understanding of this
I can
is
see
that
where you can, like,
if we vote to authorize mailing the whole thing to all active, not challenged voters, then we can fit any local stuff on the back of the ballot. I thought what they were, and then they go on to describe benefits of using one ballot versus two. So I think what they were saying is,
You could.
we encourage you to put this on the back, but if you don't
Sure.
like it being on the back, or you don't, you want to
Right.
use something separate, then you're on your own.
You know what, might have thrown me as well is they usually give deadlines and they did not give a deadline
That was
on
also
when,
unhelpful.
when that really should be done.
yes. Okay,
Cause I know they give us JP deadlines of when to put them in the portal.
So, for example, half that wants to be on the ballot,
Exactly.
so we're gonna be talking about that. So if they were to they had to go get signatures to
Uh-huh.
get on the ballot. I don't know well, maybe you know what the deadline for that would be,
Yeah,
but that may be different
I
from
think
what we
it's
have to
in
do to the
August
state.
sometime.
But is that,
Perfect, simple solution.
really?
would it have to be earlier than that with that information to the state?
Right, exactly. So we don't know because we haven't been even given a deadline to put the JPs in. What I can do
We
is,
had to get the.
you had to get them to
By
me.
the 27th.
Yes.
Which was yesterday,
Yes.
so.
So anytime I'm thinking I can put it in, but I'm sure there's a deadline
There
for
was
it.
some discussion about that in the city, and maybe you know Rebecca, because I made a note of it, but now I don't have it written. So I know they were confused about the deadline, and then there was something in the paper reporting this one. Some correction, or whether or not that was accurate, I don't know.
What I'm going to do is kind of eliminate any of this and go and email them right now. And I won't get a response tonight, but I'll get one tomorrow.
Well, the question is, do we have to act?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or not?
I'm going to ask them everything that you just discussed. I think for clarity purposes.
Yeah, well,
Complicating a very simple system.
yeah, I mean,
I mean, for hundreds of years, we voted locally on the
yes, we
ballots,
did.
and now.
It's because of the mailing out piece.
The mailing out piece means there's some central distribution, but if you want something on there, like our JPs, we have to get that to somebody on time, and they gotta make sure it's on the ballots that go to Rutland Town and not to Danby or Mount Holly or Timoth or someplace else. And they're doing the same thing, and all I can see is this is just asking for trouble.
There were some blips when they did it before, so we just have to, when the ballots come in, we have to make sure that they're good before we start voting.
And the other part
But-
of this
but
is when they
you don't-
pull our file for mailing, they pull it early for the addresses. So this is all about timing. So you're
Right.
right,
If
but
you come
it's
in
all
and
about timing.
register to vote and you're not on that list, you don't get a ballot.
You have other ways to get it, so
I
you have
understand
to,
it,
right?
but it was,
It gets complicated.
right, when you start trying to do this is asking for trouble.
Yeah.
This is, wasn't, even the COVID year, which I thought it was done because of national
Sure,
thing, we don't want to spread bugs.
but they
There's
extended it.
absolutely no reason other than chaos. It looks like that's what we want to live on, is chaos.
Oh, it could get worse, but
Oh, yeah.
if the feds decide they want to control the elections, but that's another whole. thing.
Okay, now we're gonna send it to
No,
somebody
we're
else
not
that's not even
we're Not
around.
even gonna go there.
Right,
All right.
we'll be voting for the people in Mount Holly.
Okay, anything more for Kari?
I don't have anything more for you,
All right.
and I will go and
Okay,
create that email
Yeah.
right now.
all right. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Karen.
We are now at 6:30, which is the time for the public hearing on the proposed changes to the subdivision bylaw. So we will move into that. In our packet was included, and I think Barbara Noyes Pullen is up. The planning commission, let's see, drafted the bylaw, sent it to the select board. We did raise the question of leases being triggering the subdivision ordinance with the planning commission commented on that, but they didn't take the ordinance back. So the ordinance, or the proposed ordinance, is still with the select board. If you look at the definition of subdivide, the change suggested by our attorney, and I think voted by the select board.
The page.
The pages aren't numbered, but it looks like it's one. Oh, it's one. Looks like it's page maybe 2 of text. It's where the definitions are, section 1 definitions. Yeah, so if you look at subdivision, first of all, it says a mortgage deed does not create a subdivision unless a foreclosure results. And then a lease will not be considered a subdivision unless the term of the lease is equal to or exceeds 50 years, or the lease has a term of less than 50 years, but includes a right to extend the term by renewal or otherwise to a duration equal to or in excess of 50 years. So that language is added from to what the planning commission said to us. I know Kurt had raised a question, but then seemed to be satisfied with the fact that the language that he was asking about was carried over from the old subdivision ordinance. So there we are. So we have anybody here wish to comment or ask questions about the subdivision ordinance. It is one of 2 public hearings we will have. But right, because we do have to get another one coming up.
Next meeting.
Right. So please do raise any questions now.
If I could.
Yes.
So one of the discussions that we've had, Bill and I have had, and I think we reached out a while back about this issue, is that numerous times for taxation purposes only, and it's defined under the tract of land, people will have or buy the neighboring lot.
Yes.
So for the assessment purposes, for our grand list, they become one parcel. Okay? The question that we're always asked is, do they need to subdivide if they want to turn around and sell that parcel that they get in, that they've adopted? So it's only for assessment purposes Because the more land you have, the less expensive it is. So that's the Department of Taxation rule. Our guidance has always been, if you don't change anything on that other lot, you don't make it smaller, you're not changing any of the boundary lines, they can sell it because they've absorbed it that way.
Without
It's
going
just
through
without
subdivision.
going through subdivision. And my review of this language says the exemptions for in the subdivision is under exemptions B under section 2 general provisions. The combination or recombination of portions of lots where the total number of lots is not increased. Is that intended to mean this situation? If you know.
Okay, so exemption, which section? A,
It's,
B, C, D, E. What are you looking at there?
it's section 2 general provisions. You
Yeah.
go down to exemptions.
Yeah.
And it's B.
B, okay. I don't know.
Well, so we had talked about whether or not there should be a clarification on that, because they don't need to. You know, my understanding is that if you've absorbed it by that deed, it's how you got over the full deed. And you own it. And so a contiguous property is anything that is owned or is a shared boundary line by the same exact owner. Okay?
Mhm.
So that becomes, for our purposes in the assessment, it goes from maybe you have 1 acre lot and you buy the next acre lot. For purposes of the assessment, the grand list is now going to show that that owner has a 2 acre lot. And that's how it's assessed, as a 2 acre lot. But then they turn around and they want to sell that 1 acre lot again.
Mhm.
So that's wondering if that covers that.
Okay, fair question. So I've circled it and we need to get the answer to that. Did you have any suggested language that would clarify the lister's position?
No, but I can come up, I mean, an exemption would be if you're a contiguous property, and you're not changing any of the boundary, you know, if you're looking to sell and you're not changing any of that. Oh, I guess I'd have to think about it a little bit more.
Yeah,
to make it
because
more
what if you
concise.
put a building on it or build across it? That would,
No, doesn't matter.
it should in that case. If you have a quarter acre lot, you buy the quarter acre lot next door, and then
Yes.
you build a house and
Oh.
go across the property line.
Well, yes,
Yeah.
because now you got a house and I don't know who wants to subdivide half a house.
Exactly.
But if they were to take that quarter acre lot, and they want a half a lot, but they want to now go into 1/3, 1/3, and 1/3, you know what I mean? Well, that's a whole,
Yeah, it's different.
yes. So to say if they want to change their size at all in any way, shape, or form from what they absorbed into their property, then my understanding, it would be subject to these subdivision rules for purposes of
Yeah.
determining if a subdivision is needed. You know, we have properties that have a road that goes across. For assessment purposes, that road makes no difference. They are one parcel for assessment
Yes.
purposes.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of those lots, a lot.
Yeah.
So I do think it's something that we need to typically
Okay.
clarify.
So there's really two questions here. One is, what does B mean?
Right.
And the second is, are we exempting? How can we address the lister to make it clear that if you own 2 lots together, unless you do something to change the configuration of the lots, they are separate and can be conveyed separately
They
without
can be.
subdivision ordinance? Okay,
Yes.
so we've got 2 questions there. Okay. And Bill, refresh my memory. What do? We investigate these 2 questions. And then we come back and we do another draft for our next meeting, or?
It depends upon what the changes you make. If they're substantive, it has to go back to the planning commission.
Okay.
These plans are over.
Okay,
So they're not substantive, but imagine changing the meaning of an exemption, adding an exemption would probably be.
substantive, yeah, okay. Okay. All right, good example of what public hearings about. Anyone else on the public hearing? Select board questions? Okay, anyone on, we've covered the room. We got anyone who is on the Zoom screen who wants to ask questions concerning the proposed subdivision ordinance as presented? If not, we're going to, do we recess or adjourn this public hearing?
Close the public hearing.
We'll close the public hearing and you will have another chance in 2 weeks.
Yep.
Okay. At least one more chance, but right now you have one more chance. Okay. We are, that takes care of B. We have a couple of, we need to make sure, we're gonna lose Matt, I think, in 15 minutes.
I'll be here as long as we have to take votes.
Okay,
We
so
still have
let's
to
make
actually
sure,
done our minutes and orders, so.
yeah, let's make sure we hit the things we need votes on. So let's take a look at the select board minutes for July 14th.
You can't pass.
We can't because we don't have a quorum,
Yeah.
so pass on that.
Yep.
Approval of orders. We've had them, I've reviewed them, Joe is about to. Motion's been made to approve the orders
Second.
and seconded. Any discussion or questions about any of those? If not, all in favor of approving the orders, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. All right. Are there any board member announcements? None? Update from the select board chair? None? And questions from the floor, public comments. If there are, just you could do it really briefly, that would be good. Any questions from the floor? Public comments for folks not otherwise on the agenda? None. Okay. So we have some folks here. Habitat is here and your action item C. So why don't you come on up and touched on it a little bit with Kari, so why don't you pick up from there?
So Kari did an excellent job summarizing it because we have
Okay,
become,
keep your voice up, please. 'Cause
Sorry.
we got that thing on. Sorry.
sorry. So I'm Rebecca Stevens. I'm the executive director for Habitat for Humanity. I was teaching all day, so I apologize. My voice, I was teenagers all day. Okay. So Kari did a good job summing it up, and we have become aware of the fact that with the mail-in ballot restrictions and getting it printed for November 3rd, calling a special meeting in concurrence with the November 3rd to attempt to try to not have extra work for the town, would be that if we don't put it on the ballot, the time frame I think is August 3rd, around that about, to get it on the back of the national that the state does. But we have by statute 60 days to get it out before November 3rd. That puts us at September 3rd. Our goal was to get it to you the Friday before that, so there's plenty of time to count. We don't want to, hurry up, and we want it done right. So we were going to get it to you by then. So, in addition to our statement 2 weeks ago, that has come to light that there is that little time frame with the additional cost would sit on the town to do that separately. So I was just coming tonight to see what you guys had decided after from last 2 weeks.
So
That
you're
was it.
saying that in order to get it on the back of the state ballot, the deadline is around August 3rd.
That's what the email from the Secretary of State said. Now Rutland City's a little bigger, so I don't know if maybe they're a little earlier than Rutland Town, but give or take a day or two, I'm sure. But by statute, we have 60 days before the election, and then it has to be warned 47. So that's what the time frame is. So it really is just your
So-
decision. We're still collecting signatures and we'll have them by the end of August, which is our intent. But if you want to, save the stamps. So,
Well,
just
there,
let
I
me
mean,
know.
there's a question about whether we would have to mail out that one ballot to all of the voters in town.
That's a question I can't answer.
Yeah, yeah.
That's,
And
depends
we're
on your
not sure
town.
either, and that's why we're puzzling through this whole.
So
Yeah.
I'm just wanting to know if you want us to put it
Okay.
on and we'll get you the ballot statement to you within a day, or do you want us to just continue to collect signatures? That's all I was here for tonight.
Okay, well, our next select board meeting is, as you can see, we're down 2 members tonight, and that's, yeah. Our next select board meeting is August 11th, which is after.
Yeah, and depending on what, I mean,
First,
the
yeah.
Secretary of State, I mean, I've been in contact with the actual Secretary of State, the lovely lady who runs it, Sarah. And she's the one that sent me the confirmation that we were interpreting the statute correctly. So that's why I know I'm pretty confident. The August 3rd was only from an email that was sent out internally to town clerks for August 3rd, so that we can understand what was going on in the other jurisdiction. Not this one. I didn't
Okay.
ask anything about Rutland Town.
Okay. So unless we do something tonight, then you would,
Just
you
keep
would
going.
proceed with,
Right.
getting signatures on the petition.
Yeah.
We would see likely a ballot item
Yes.
as a result
Yeah,
of
you
that.
will.
We would be, running off some ballots on our photocopy machine
Right.
and making them available at the general election
Right.
as voters come in, as they request absentee ballots the usual way, but we wouldn't necessarily be mailing them out. So,
And
If
that's
the,
fine.
if the
Yeah.
general, if the plan is to mail out the ballot for the general election, polls will be open, but people don't have to come.
correct.
So you're, this is where the problems are.
You're missing
Yeah,
some
so
of
if
the
we have a
election.
local ballot that you have to come here, then we have to make sure people know, even though you got a ballot mailed to you, you have to show up to the polling places to vote for this one article.
Or you have to call the town clerk and request
Right,
that ballot to be sent to you.
Right.
Right, which
Yeah.
is 2 different systems
right. And
for one
so,
election.
like I said, nothing but confusion.
You're right.
So this email that we were referring to earlier, that Kari got, they said, email this person, Secretary of State's immediately, and do JP's and/or local public questions on the back of the general election ballot. And then one of the advantages is including on the back, ensures they'll also be available in the accessible voting system and for voters who have requested an electronic absentee ballot. So it's not even clear to me from this, if we're not on the back, if we provide them with their own created ballot and they still mail it, this information probably just came out of it. To me, sounds like being on the back of the ballot is what we would want. That is the best thing for all voters. Generally speaking, I think you don't want to be in a position of making the decision. Like there's a process for doing this that would involve signatures. But I don't want to cost the town a whole bunch of money because of the mailing deadline. So, but we also don't have the exact language in front of us, so I'm not sure what. If we can just authorize generally putting on the ballot whatever it does, or is that something they're sure we have the authority to
Do you have a petition with you? Because the language would be on that. How to do it. Would you dig it out and hand it? Please. Okay, The article is, shall the town of Rutland exempt the property at 3092 Cold River Road, presently owned by Habitat for Humanity of Rutland County, Vermont, Inc., from property taxation for a period not exceeding 10 years, commencing with the 2026-27 tax year, so long as such property is used exclusively by Habitat for Humanity of Rutland County, Vermont, Inc., for its purposes as a nonprofit charitable organization. You got it?
You read very,
Do I read pretty
you
good?
read pretty
Yeah. At
understandable.
least I have a voice left, because I wasn't dealing with teenagers.
So,
What's your pleasure?
Can I be heard on this issue?
I think so.
And I'd like to be heard on this issue if I could.
Um,
So it is very important. What Habitat's work is very important.
you gotta keep your voice up.
Well, let me
because
come
this
up
is kinda
further.
noisy.
go up and
Let me-
hang out.
Let me come up further, huh?
So hang out at the front desk.
I can hang out with you. You mind if I sit next to you? So Habitat's work is important. And this select board has afforded Ms. Stevens probably about 35 minutes of time to be able to talk about why she thinks that the listers have done things wrong through the exemptions. And I think it's very important for the town voters and the select board to understand why we are here and making a decision. And one of the things that we do is sit down and talk. When we talk to Ms. Stevens and Jane, in order to understand, we are charged for a three-pronged test to determine whether or not an exemption exists. Okay, so in doing that, the town listers interviewed Ms. Stevens, and in doing
Can
so,
I interrupt? And I hate to do this because I said you could speak.
don't.
But this issue is only whether we, as a select board, authorize this to go on the ballot, not whether we
Correct.
agree with it.
But I would
It's
disagree with that.
process.
the statement 2 weeks ago started, and I state, as I transcribed your statement, to address the denial of our tax exempt status by the town of Rutland Minister's office, and it went forward. The reason that I think I need to be heard from both the taxpayers and this board is that there are questions that I think by making the decision to put it on the ballot versus you giving the voters an opportunity to talk to them directly when they're signing the petition is very important for you to know. Because that's some of the stuff that we learned in talking with them and making the decision. And so if you're precluding the voters from asking some of these questions by putting it on the board, they don't have a full understanding of why this exemption was denied in the first place and the withdrawal of the BCA. So from the lister's perspective, they have a three-pronged test to meet, and two of them are whether or not it's a public use for benefit for everybody. And let me just get my notes here. And the primary use must be a benefit to an indefinite class of persons, and the property must be dedicated unconditionally to public use. And in doing that, well, they met and there's a third problem, they have to be a 501c. And in doing that, they met the 501c. Our job as listers was to determine whether or not they met the other two prongs. So public use is characterized as such because its breadth and scope of its users mean not as a prerequisite to avail themselves or belong to any exclusive group. And whereas any use promotes a direct individual interest, although it may incidentally tend to public benefit, it is also essentially a private and not a public entity. That's one of the things that we were concerned with. The other thing was the use of the building exclusively for its mission requires that the state, that we follow the state law and it go for a vote. And how we made that determination was based on information.
Aren't we going for a vote?
We're going for a vote, but Ms. Stevens has come in here and made a couple of statements that I do not think are factually based. So the taxpayers need to know that we gathered information on the use of the building. That's why it's going for a vote. But by you putting it on the ballot without ever having heard, because you've never heard the lister's reasons for why it was denied, because even in the BCA, we never got into the merits of the
Right.
denial. It only went on standing because they did not meet their grievance deadline. And whether or not,
Well,
So-
they also withdrew their request. at
and then
that
they
point,
withdrew their request. So the Habitat is, the building that they now own in Rutland Town is over 7,000 square feet. It's used for administrative offices, it's used for the restore, and it's used for a panel workshop. The fire marshal has indicated that the panel workshop is not available to the public. The public can't access that part of the building. The persons for their mission is for housing for potential homeowners whose income falls within 30 to 80% of the average median income for the family size. And these applicants must meet these qualifications and must also qualify for conventional financing. The Habitat has built 7 houses in Rutland County. None have been built in Rutland Town to date. And they offer minor home repair program as well, but not only one Rutland Town resident has qualified for that. So these are things that we've learned that we had to analyze as to whether or not it met its exemptions. And one of the things in Mr. Stevens' statement last week, it says their donors expect to generously donated resources of time, good, and money to go to our core mission of building homes and providing life-changing accessibility modifications. Every dollar we would otherwise pay a property tax is a dollar diverted from a family's future or a ramp not built. We learned during our interview with them that Habitat for Humanity is required to tie 10% of its net proceeds from Restore to the Habitat for Humanity International. Habitat for Humanity International does not offer legal advice nor offer any operational grants. They offer no assistance to this woman for purposes of running her, but they also have to pay $5,000 to $10,000 a year for the right to use a Habitat for Humanity brand. Hiding is unrestricted to the Restore. These are questions that I think that petitioners have a right to ask Habitat. And if the board decides to put it on the ballot, you're depriving the voters from that opportunity to talk to them as to what their full extent of the mission is, and to have an understanding that it's the voters who make up the difference. The assessed value of that building is $475,000. They paid $750, I think, at the time for the building. That's the assessed values of 2013. The voters make up that tax value. It doesn't fall off the tax roll. So they also need to understand that when we say that we want to give money for the appropriations, that's the voters are having that right to say yes or no. They need to know that they're making up. I have no bias in this. If the voters decide that Habitat is exempt, then it's the voters that get to decide that they're exempt. But they also need the full breadth of the information on which to do it. The appropriate or the ballot item also, and I don't think anybody understands that this is not for 2026-27 taxes. The building as of April 1st is valued as it is, and there's no exemption in place as of April 1st. So if it goes for on the ballot, we cannot exempt to the Habitat for Humanity would still have that tax bill assessed against them and have to come in front of the Board of Abatement in order to abate those taxes after that exemption. So that's an additional expense for the town, whereas if they go and wait for the March ballot and put it on, you don't have that. It's the March ballot would be voted and it would be for next year. So these are just things that are all to be considered by the board. And I thought it was very important that you hear the breadth of
the exemptions because the use of the building requires the town, the town vote. So I just wanted that to be known.
Rebecca, anything else you want to say?
Give me a second. Because I'm not here to adjudicate the fact that we don't agree on it. Okay.
No, we don't.
All right.
We
So
don't.
we don't agree. And that's why we're trying to follow what you asked us to do was to go to the voters. So if you want us to collect signatures, which we are doing, we have no problem doing that. And we're continuing to do that. Our statement that we're sending to the voters will read 2026, 27. How it's handled after that, when it goes to the voters and they approve it or deny it, then that's how it will have to be handled. As far as all the other statements, any questions that anyone asks us about habitat, we are more than glad to share. And we do that constantly. But again, I just need to know, do you want us to get you a statement in the next 2 days? You know, I can send you that, you can have it, whatever, to go on. We respectfully requested it to be a statement that we've already done, not one that was redone, obviously. And if not, and we can't agree to do that one because, you know, on the ballot, then we'll continue to do signatures. And however you guys have to figure out how to get the ballot out, then I would, you know, get it to you as soon as possible to make sure that's able. We'll get those signatures as fast as we can. It just takes time. We're about halfway there.
Have done that in years? Yeah.
Right.
That.
So process question.
Yeah.
The ballot item that you read earlier, that was drafted by
And it's your,
you or your,
yeah, I didn't write.
yourself,
It has to do with statute.
right? But so they drafted it. So is it correct? So I mean, our attorney hasn't weighed in on it. So what if they vote for voting on something that doesn't work? Like, for example, the 26, 27 tax year. I mean, we can't approve something that's illegal. So how do we know if this is even?
Well, it's for a 10-year period of time. So if the first year is in question, I think, forget who said Board of Abatement, but that's
Me,
okay.
yes. So the Board of Abatement would have to gather in order to abate your taxes for this, the bill
The
that's
first
coming up.
year and then the
May I
other
just be
9
clear,
years.
those are
would
not
be-
my taxes.
No, no,
I
no, no, the
represent
Habitat,
for
yes,
Humanity of
right.
Rutland County,
Right.
and it's not my organization. I am the executive director. I'm here because that's my job, to be here and represent.
So the question for this board is whether anyone wants to make a motion of some kind that would put habitat on the ballot by action of the select board, and then all three of us would have to agree to do it that way, as opposed to
Yes,
letting habitat proceed with petitions.
I guess my feeling right now is that if we're doing it ourselves, it would normally be something we would have our attorney review before we did it by special language. And
I'm not in favor of trying to crowd this through. I can't.
Okay.
I can't do it. So you won't have the majority.
Okay. So,
And based on Marie's information, it's not going to affect the current tax for this fiscal year.
unless, by operation by itself, unless they come in for an abatement.
So if it's on the March ballot, which would be way easier, more painful, but way easier, it would be done in the normal fashion of getting the petition out, getting the necessary signatures, and bringing it to us to put it on the ballot, at which time we probably would. But we would be trying to crowd something through on a deadline that, and in a election process that none of us fully understands how to do this. It's nothing against you or the organization, it's just that I'm not a fan of the ballots being mailed out. If this was just a strictly town and we were doing our own, this would probably work for November, but I see this as just nothing but a fiasco to try to crowd it through at this
The
time.
only thing I would say is there are more voters likely to vote in November than in March. And certainly way more than would vote in August.
Yeah.
That's.
And I understand that. But I just,
Okay, so if it looks like there won't be.
Yeah.
Even if there was a motion made, there's not going to be a majority, so, we can give you back your motion or maybe, okay, and, good luck gathering signatures.
Yep, we'll
So-
get them to Kari, to the town clerk before the September 3rd deadline.
Yes, please, because she
We
does
will.
have to go through.
Okay,
Thank you, guys. Okay, we also have,
Andres has it soon as deadline.
okay, Andres Chorizo to talk about a grant that we have and what to do about it, and this is the MS4 work in the one-year development, right? That's H. Right?
Yes,
Yes.
correct. And we contract copy in your packet.
Hey, good evening, everybody. You hear me all right?
Good evening. Thanks for zooming in.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, so the project is the Windmere gravel wetland project. So we've been working on that for a number of years. And the town has this block grant with the state, and the block grant is funded through ARPA, and so that money is going away shortly at the end of September. And so we're really on a we're on a tight time frame with this project, but we're kind of at the last hurdle right now. The current status is we're waiting on the Act 250 permit to issue. We've kind of addressed all their concerns finally, and the permit should be issued, I think, August 11th or August 12th. And we have, so basically we assisted the town with putting this project out to bid. We received one bid on the project. The bid was from Sanderson Trucking and Excavating. And their total bid price was, I believe, $70,000, which is within the means of what the town has under this grant, so the grant can pay for that work. So really the part is just making sure that this project can happen by basically the third week in September, because Bill needs some time to basically get an invoice from them processed and then turned around back to the state for reimbursement. So we're running fairly tight, but I've talked with the contractor and they said if they can start right off as soon as the Act 250 amendment issues, then they should be able to make the deadline, barring any unforeseen issues or whatever. So I prepared a draft contract between the town and Sanderson for the board's review. I sent that to Bill, so you should have that. So if the board's inclined to sign that, I can get that to Sanderson, and then they would plan to proceed with the project. Just once I tell them that they have the notice to proceed.
I do note that on page 2, the substantial completion date is September 18th, 2026.
Mhm.
That's in there.
Is this
Oh, invitation to bid request. Is that
number 3 in the packet.
Yeah, okay, I have that, but that's
This bid document is very large.
Yeah, you're welcome to look at the rest of the bid documents, but what I have,
It's
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we've got 1, 2, 3,
I
4,
guess it's the last
5,
couple pages.
6, 7. There's 7 pages. And I have all of the rest, which is attachment C, standard state provisions for contracts and grants. And I think that's 10 pages. And then there's another. But there's another, no, maybe not. Federal debarment and suspension certification.
Mhm.
They have signed State Department list certification. They have signed, and then certificate of general liability. So this looks like all of the,
Very simple.
yeah, I think you're welcome to take a look at it. So here's the question. Can we have the grant money. Is it usable for this purpose, for the construction purpose?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Bill and I have been working closely with the grant manager at the state, Colleen, and she's kind of kept well informed about all this, and so she's basically told us that the money can be used to pay for this project.
Okay, the actual work and not just the planning.
Correct, the actual construction. Yep.
You're sure of that before I make a motion?
Yeah. Yes.
Bill.
The last time I talked to you, Andres, we were on site up there and we had some questions, and this is what you were gonna look into, is whether or not we could actually use the money for this, and it's determined that we can.
Yeah, I mean, she's told us that yes, this project can pay for the actual construction of the project. I mean, I'm happy to. I'm just trying to think if I have something in an email already from her. I mean, I'm happy to basically confirm that as well, but that's what she's told me. Yes.
Okay.
Then I'd make a motion that we approve the contract to get this started on the basis that Andres can verify that the funds through that email can be used for this purpose.
Of construction.
Yeah. Okay with that, Andres?
Yeah, I'll send her a note and just ask her to just confirm that the boards would like that, and I'm sure she'll write back. Yep.
Yeah. Is there a second to that motion? Did you want to add anything about who's going to sign it on behalf of the board?
We'll allow our board chair to sign on behalf of the town, so there's only one person.
All right. So you agree. All right. Any further discussion? I don't know if this is one where I can go to jail or not, but at this point.
Yeah,
Thank you. All in favor?
So I'm sure.
Okay. It's reassuring. All in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye, motion carries. I'm going to sign it. Bill, you're not to release it until you get that verification. Okay.
This goes a long ways to our MS4.
Yes.
So we need to get this.
We need to,
I brought a little short.
well, I can.
You
guys are fine.
You may be signing, but we all said you could, so I think we're
You
co-conspirators.
said before you visit me in jail, and I appreciate that.
People.
Okay, so it goes in the pink folder. It's all signed.
Thank you.
Thanks for your work on this. Appreciate it.
Yay. Finally, we just got to get it done. It'll be
Yes.
good to get this one done.
It really will be.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, take
Anything
care.
else for Andres, or you're done for tonight? Okay.
I think I'm done.
Thank you, Andres.
Thank you.
All right. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Okay, that takes care of H. Devin,
Hey,
hi.
good to see you.
Good to be seen. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Sorry it's a skeleton crew tonight, but I can always come back down the road.
What's your pleasure? And it's grant funding projects and other town topics.
Yeah, I think it's worth a few minutes, and if you want me to come back, I definitely can.
One of the things that I was hoping were the folks from up off Post Road that were asking about what's that program for the water sewer extension? And they said that you might be able to help us.
Oh, the development?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, they're not there yet. That's we were possible, do a project that may be good for the chip program.
Ooh,
We're
awesome.
talking about that thing. We're
Yeah.
talking with them.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I was hoping they would be here to ask you questions.
Yeah, you know, CHIP is still in its infancy. That's the Community Housing Investment Program. There's only been 2 applicants in the whole state so far.
Is that because nobody understands it or they just don't know about it?
Bit of both. You know, I think it requires you to be like, when they say shovel ready, they mean shovel ready. So a lot of prerequisites to be met, development plans and agreements in place with the town. So it's not insurmountable. And I think we'll learn from these early iterations about how we can avoid that headache for Rutland Town or whoever seeks that from Rutland County. Because we do hope that we do. I mean, the biggest investment in housing infrastructure in the history of Vermont, you know.
So is there some kind of schedule list, some kind of thing that those folks can get so they know how to make this project work? Because I think the way that works, we have to ask for the grant. And we have, if I'm not mistaken, it has to go through the town,
It
right?
is a public infrastructure project, right?
Okay,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so-
That's
I remember
tied
that.
to a development, and it sort of needs to meet that but-for test. The development wouldn't happen but for this public investment. So it can be a number of things. But yeah, you know, we're hoping to pursue this in a few other communities in the region, in Brandon and Fairhaven potentially. So it is seen that the RPCs will provide a lot of technical support to towns during this process. So Bill and I will be in close contact, and we can, you know, address that when we get there. The biggest thing to know, Joe, is the 10-year time clock started, you know, when the program was initiated. So we only have 10 years to get those projects in within this cycle.
So, and done and completed.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think they can do it. Having water and sewer on that project will increase the number of
Oh, it changes everything.
lots they can put in there
Mhm.
and how but they need to get through Act 250, they need to get it designed. That's the stuff that I don't know what they need and what we need to do. And that was questions that came up at our highway committee meeting last week
Okay.
was, how do we get this going and what are the first steps? So.
Okay.
Well, because Kurt's missing.
Yeah.
And Sharon's interested in housing stuff. So maybe if it's okay with you, can we invite you to come back?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you
That
want me
would
to
be good.
skip tonight then and
I
just
think
return?
so.
All
Yeah,
right.
because
My
we've
wife
got
will be happy.
several
I
other
can
things.
help put the baby to bed. So
Okay.
yeah, that's great. And you know, there was no rush on the elements I was going to speak on with the municipal planning grant for capital improvement
Oh, yeah.
project,
Yeah.
or a plan, sorry, capital
Yeah.
improvement plan. And then I was going to talk to you guys again about Act 181. Now that we're through the thick of it and we know how to navigate this system, you know, talking to you guys about what the potential holds now. The picture is very different from when I came here 2 years ago.
Mhm.
Very different. And could be a benefit to the town. So I'd love to have that conversation.
It'd probably be better if we had everybody.
Yeah, I agree.
And the other thing about the.
We're going to get into that big Z word, and everyone needs to be at the table for that.
The Z
one.
word, yeah.
Yeah, so.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, it did come up before, you're right.
Sure. Yeah, it's an element you got to have, but it's worth discussing now.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for
Fair
the time.
enough. Thank you,
Yeah.
and we appreciate your, coming back.
Happy to do it. Yeah.
All right.
He's a townie. He's got.
Yeah, I'm ready to
Yeah.
talk. Yeah.
So,
All right. Good to see you both. Thank you guys. Thank you guys.
Take care.
The bill, they wanted it like affordable. Okay.
Yeah, I remember that.
So
Yeah.
that's one thing that would help.
Um,
Through all the fun and games yet.
well, we haven't done the department.
No, I
reports, and we haven't done all of that.
Oh,
We got all the visitors taken care of.
We have, yes.
Yeah,
So seems like maybe the most urgent are the police and Marie again, correct?
Yeah.
yeah, so let's have, because we gotta do, I think we've got to sign this. Marie, if you come up, we'll do Town listers report.
Mine
This is combined with the NEMRIC contract approval.
Very good. So you do have the contract that they added all the language, they did a cut and paste and threw it on, so the formatting, but the content is all there, and I think, and I don't know if you guys, are interested, if you want to have it sent up to Kevin, or if it's something you're gonna, sign tonight, as far as purposes of us as a lister. It's got what we need to have in for purposes of getting the photos and the inspections and getting the materials for us to use and follow along and things like that. So whatever your pleasure is on that.
Yeah, and how long is this? I mean, they don't start until 2029, so,
Right.
How soon do they want this in place?
yeah.
We are on their schedule, and I have not got a response back on whether or not they want a deposit, because we have
Yes,
talked
I
about
did
that.
ask.
Yes, so I do not know if they're gonna want one or not.
And what did they do? Did they have, reserves the right to discuss changes in the overall contract amount by January 2029.
Yes,
This would occur if there were significant increase in costs for completion of reappraisal projects for 2031. So
right.
that's, it's
That's a
sort of a contract, but
Subject to
Subject to-
revisiting for the number depending on,
yeah.
well, I think that is thrown in there because number one, it is so far up, and number two, more importantly, is the state, that we had the same caveat in our request for bid, because we were like, if the state imposes the fact that we can't go through, we're getting out of the contract.
Yes.
So I think that's where it comes from.
So what does reserving the right to discuss mean?
Reserving the right
We
to discuss.
say no.
But we get to say no.
They don't show up.
Yeah. But I think it is fair to have to put that in there because the ROD districts are back on the table up there in the state legislature for reappraisal districts, so there's a lot that could change.
Okay. What's your pleasure? Do we send it up now that Kevin's back? Do we send it up to Kevin? Do we go ahead and sign this? What's your pleasure?
Like I say, we listen, some of this stuff that's kind of important. If we're not against the clock, it would be nice to have
Is this,
the whole board involved.
What do you
compare
think
it
of
all
this?
to one that was, 2008 or whatever last one was? In terms of the contract?
So we've never used NIMRIC as an appraisal firm, an actual appraisal firm. We use them for their software, but we haven't used them as their appraisal. When I did the request for bid, I pulled our previous request and I took all the requests from other towns, put it all together. And then this was the indemnification language that went out there that they had to meet for, when they did their bid, to these terms to include.
So did you have to draft this or did they give you?
They cut and pasted out of the,
It-
yeah, NIMRIC. I essentially gave it to them. So, if you want it to go, if you think there's other terms that are needed, or if Kevin wants to do other terms,
I don't know if something how big and whole with their name, that's not.
right. So, it's not
We're
starting
down
until
to
29, so.
I know,
We're not in a hurry, I say just send it
Yeah.
to Kevin.
Send it to Kevin.
Sends to Kevin.
And it would be better if we had the whole board involved with this.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
The other one would be quite good.
So that's what, I'm putting it back in with a little note on your note that says send to Kevin.
I think it's Kevin.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
please, thank you. And it's going in the pink folder.
Excellent.
All right.
And essentially, the tax rate was done. We did the rollover today, so that we got the as-built grand list, and we're starting 27 already. So
Okay,
that's basically it.
good. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I noticed the grand list did go up a tad,
It
like
did.
270, something like that.
Yeah, not a lot.
Not a
So,
lot,
but actually, so our assessed properties that when we went out and did assessments went up 2.6 million.
okay.
But then the state stepped in and changed
Oh, you don't know.
how they did something else. So like I had told Mary previously, $6 million of Comcast money has gone to the city of Rutland. That was normally in our pot. That is a topic that because the state hired appraisers to come in and do this work. And so whether or not they understood the boundary lines between Rutland and the town, we don't know. We're waiting for them. So they may come back with more. They may come back and take more from Rutland. Who knows? But so every gain we had some changes back.
So what happens when they change it after we set the tax rate?
So for us, it's not going to affect us because we were on the losing end this year. So our tax rate is up, our grand list is up. The city and other towns that are having this concern have all that their tax rate is being based on these grand lists with these numbers that are subject for appeal. And so all of these utilities and all of these telecommunications accounts are now subject to state or level superior court litigation. They had to, the state put a mandate out that the listers and the Board of Civil Authority had no discretion. They were to deny it at those levels to allow all these entities to get to court. So who knows? It's going to be a couple of years probably down the road before their appeals are overturned anyway. So, but we're lucky because we didn't get the money.
Well, yeah, because now we're not relying on something.
Then we're
that's
not relying
there.
on something that's not there. And we went up anyway. And we actually dropped in our business personal property by 10 accounts and still went up in value for them. So that's good.
Good.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. You have a good evening.
You too.
That's right.
All right. Now I think we can go through. There's no one else here.
See, one of the department heads say,
What?
I know. I'm trying not to look at them.
you know, I was looking at the adjournment plan from the last meeting.
Don't even.
We're a minute longer.
I think you should.
Just don't.
And I told everybody it's not my fault.
Okay, so let's go through department head order, and we're gonna hit the police soon enough, and we've got a couple of things under there. So, Ms. Clark, Town Fire Chief. He is. Is he? Yeah.
There he goes. There he is.
Okay.
Good evening.
Good evening, Chief.
Just one thing tonight. If you guys remember when we met with Joe and David a couple months ago, we asked for some new radios to buy. We talked to David probably 3 weeks ago. He said they're trying to do this the same way they're doing the police. Like they don't want to give us the money until something starts at the location.
Yes.
Which is fine. I did talk to CVC Radio, and since the first time we brought this up, the radios have gone up a little over $3,000 total price. So I was wondering if I could order them, and they should be here in 60 days, I was told. And if they're here before Joe wants to release the money to pay for them with our depreciation fund and then replace that money with Joe's money when it comes in. I just want to make sure that was okay with you guys before I ordered these.
So we'd be waiting.
Joe's paying for the radios.
I think he means a different Joe. Yeah. So we would be waiting to reimburse for essentially probably 3 years.
Yeah.
3 years?
Yeah, well, I'm thinking they need to get
Well,
the permits all in place, and then 6 months after the permits. And the payments for the police don't start for 3 years. I don't know what we put on for the payment for the, I think it was 30,000 for the fire department.
Yeah.
Years for,
yeah, I don't know that.
no, maybe not.
No, the, I
Yeah.
What's the first thing that, if I remember our agreement, is that once substantial construction starts, once they get a permit,
Once they get a permit.
and then then they will start paying us toward the police, the additional
Okay.
officer.
Yes, I think.
I
you're
think while the building's under construction.
Yeah, I think it might be 6 months.
So my question
Yes, it
is,
expires.
if
Yeah.
we order the radios, we pay for them out of the depreciation fund, which is the way we would normally probably do this anyway for that amount of equipment. And the only negative is if the state doesn't give them the permit and they never build, we need the radios anyway, so we're
Well,
not out
there's
of
that.
So
These are
I-
replacement radios? Or
yeah, they're replacing what they have now. It's
Because
not
it may
new,
not be till next fiscal year that we actually receive funds.
but if we
But
take
that
it out of
doesn't really matter.
depreciation, which is a legitimate expense for replacing existing equipment, and we replace it with the monies offered to us by the developer for the Walmart project, essentially, there's no expense to the town. And that's, that was their donation to the town. They agreed to what Chris asked. So
Is there
I
a motion?
move that we allow fire department to purchase the radios that Chris is requesting to the depreciation fund to be reimbursed by, what is it? I can't remember the name of the.
BAI, the Act 250, under the municipal
Right, like
impact
the
agreement.
developer
with
is,
BAI.
yeah.
It's Joe Anthony, he's the
Joe Anthony.
principal,
BAI.
but it's the
BAI and
Walmart, BAI and Walmart together.
They'll be replacing the.
Okay. All right, is there a second to that motion?
Second.
All right, motion's made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
No,
Aye. Motion carries 3-0.
and
Okay,
then the chance, according to their timeline, in 60 days, we may know. They're thinking end of September into October. So this is-
yeah, I was,
So
the
we're-
3 years I was thinking is from when the place actually opens. But that doesn't,
I don't even think, I think they're talking, if they start construction next spring is which they're hoping they'll be open the year after, so
well, we'll see.
kind of like the sidewalk. I know it's-
Okay,
I'll believe
what
it
else
when
do you
I see
have
it.
for us, chief?
That's all I had. I appreciate it. So thank you.
Okay, thanks very much. Okay, Mike Rowe, Town Rec Director. And we have, oh, wait, Chris, are you still there?
I'm here.
Okay, there is a small recognition we wish to do. We had to hold off last meeting, but this is a proclamation of appreciation and recognition presented to Joseph Joe Denardo in recognition of 47 years of distinguished service as Rutland Town Forest Fire Warden. Whereas Joe Denardo has faithfully served the town of Rutland as Forest Fire Warden for 47 years, dedicating himself to the protection of the town's residents, forests, farms, homes, and natural resources. And whereas throughout nearly 5 decades of service, Joe has demonstrated exceptional commitment to wildfire prevention, public safety, conservation, and responsible stewardship of Vermont's lands. And whereas his knowledge, leadership, and dedication have benefited countless residents and have strengthened partnerships among local, regional, and state agencies charged with protecting the health and safety of our communities. And whereas Joe's unwavering service has helped preserve the character and natural beauty of Rutland Town while ensuring the safety of future generations, last whereas, and whereas his extraordinary record of public service stands as an example of dedication, integrity, and civic responsibility worthy of the highest commendation. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Rutland Town Select Board hereby extends its deepest appreciation and sincere gratitude to Joseph Joe Denardo for his 47 years of distinguished service as Rutland Town Forest Fire Warden and recognizes his invaluable contributions to the safety, welfare, and quality of life enjoyed by the residents of Rutland Town. The citizens of Rutland Town are proud to honor Joe Denardo for his remarkable commitment, steadfast leadership, and lasting legacy of public service. Presented this, it was the 28th day, it was supposed to be last, 28th day of July 2026 by the Rutland Town Select Board, and it's signed by the chair. It's one of the fun things I get to. So,
Whereas he continues to do the job.
thank you very much.
We have a case, but it burned.
I
I thought that was appropriate.
Yeah. Thank you all.
Well,
Still
thank
probably
you
make
for your
you wait till the
service.
end of these meetings to go. Just keep you around.
You could change them at any time.
Okay, thank you, Chief. I did want you to hear that.
Thank you. Congratulations, Joe.
Thank you.
Okay, Micro.
Okay, a couple things. We had talked in committee, when we had a meeting a while ago, about having the Sunday Sisters, and pay for them to bring in their ice cream. And we agreed that that was probably our best option, but we wanted to run it by part of the board, if they're okay with that. We tossed around different ideas as to why that would be a better option. Last year they donated, just that will add to
Pretty
the
hard
cost.
to, this environment donating is getting tougher for everybody with it.
Well, I understand. Really. Okay, so you're good with that. I don't need emotions.
Is it? Yeah, I think. we
Okay, if it's in the budget,
Yeah.
then we're good.
Yeah.
Okay. We're all set. I want to thank the people that attended we had a great turnout for our Summer Jam concert series that ended this past Sunday. We had crowds, very good sized crowds in the 80s and the 60s for these events. And for the first time through, I thought it went over very well. I did happen to see Mr. Getty was there, so if he wanted to elaborate, he could, but he was enjoying the music as well. And other folks around have been there. So I thought it was success, and we'll start building it better for next year. So just to let
Thank
know.
you.
Our senior luncheon, which happened last Tuesday in the pouring rain. I didn't think anybody would show up because it was pouring. We had it set up, and they all plus like 3 or 4 showed up. So we had like 45 people sitting under the tent we would normally have, but rain, I mean, it was great. I didn't think they would show up, and they all came out for the event. So it was awesome. It was really cool. So big thanks to them, and they'll get their information for what we're doing next month and the next couple months coming up. The sad note, which is always sad, the pool's last day is the 22nd of August. That is a Saturday. We are not open on the 23rd. We will be closing and putting everything away on the 23rd. So just people mark that on their calendars. It's been a very busy summer at the pool because we've had a lot of nice weather at the pool, other than today and forecast for tomorrow. So we are getting done with that. I'm sending out reminders for everyone for Rutland Town Community Day, which is the 16th. So Chief, if he's still there, and Dave, because he's on. Remember that Sunday on the 16th from 10 to 2 at the pool. We are confirmed with live music, with DJ. The order has not officially been placed, but the food is going to be all set. I have my 3 cooks if Sharon's feeling better, with the 2 of you and Sharon cooking. And then the other groups that are attending, an email will go out this week just to remind them, and we're moving forward with that. So that should be a great day, planning ahead for that. The new mower is in, and I put it to work this week, so it's running great, and thank you for that. And Bill has the bills
Yes.
for the Rutland Town, Rutland City event on 7/3.
Yeah.
So Bill has the live band, the DJ, and the porta potties were all billed. Well, I said, send me the bill.
Mhm.
Because the two groups, they're gonna, whatever you're gonna do. The only other expense that I can think of was the banners that were made. But I don't think there were any other expenses that we incurred for that event.
We said each municipality would cover police and, any departments that, rec department and so on. So what was the total of that? And the banners, I think we can use again. Maybe.
No, the way they were constructed, okay.
Like
The one we have, we can reuse over and over again.
Okay.
That one was like a one-off knockoff because
Okay.
it's got 250 and
Okay.
it's very
Okay.
year driven. So the only other costs were, like I said, those three. So however you guys want to do that, Bill has those invoices, so you can commit with
What
the
was the
city. And
total?
then,
I don't know.
to be honest with you, it was like
I always
300. It was 300 for the live music. It was 400 for the DJ. If I'm remembering off the top of my head.
Sounds right.
So there's 700, and then it was 250 for the porta potties. So it's under
It's under
$1,000.
$1,000. Yeah.
The two of you to split, which is what you had agreed in our
We'd
meeting.
send in the bills.
But I just, whatever you guys want to do, Bill has the actual
Yeah,
invoices.
so
Apparently, I think where are they?
I did.
Well, you were
see-
emailed two of them,
Okay.
and I put the other one in your box for the porta potty, which I told you today. I did that on there. So I figured Bill is your conduit, so you should have bills.
So my suggestion is we pay and then send the
City
bill for the half to the city. Okay.
Do that.
I just don't want the vendors hanging out there.
No, I don't either.
No, that's not really fair to them. It was
And
almost
we
more-
should, because they probably weren't included in today's bills. We
They
should
were not,
probably make a
because-
separate motion
Yeah.
to pay those three vendors and then bill the city for half. Is there a motion to that effect?
So,
Motion's made and seconded. Any further discussion? Not all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
and the only other thing I have is, Torrin, who has been doing film work over at Dewey, has done a really nice job in the setup of getting Dewey's cameras up and running much better than we had. We put on the cameras in Dewey. We had one. We had two. One didn't really work, and the second was more there for looks than anything. But now we are, within the next week or so, we will be full camera all around and good coverage for what we need to, because it's helped in the past. A lot of different
Yes,
things.
I remember.
It's helped many
Yes.
times, so
Yes.
it's worth the investment. And thanks to Torrin for
Good.
doing that like work for us.
Thank him from us too, please.
Well, Bill, I very rarely see Torrin, but if you could thank him, that would be great.
I will do it.
Other than that, I don't have much. It's August, almost.
Hi. Any questions from the select board for our rep director? Okay. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you. Have a great evening.
You too. It's left of it. That's it. All right. And Washburn, I police chief. And the deputy chief.
Good evening. So now we have the action items. Couple things. First, the new cruiser's in. No, like
It's enough.
it's in. It's sitting yeah, it's sitting in our garage bay. Deputy Chief Blackstein went and got it Friday.
Is it all detailed and everything?
Goes in tomorrow for radio, and
Okay.
it goes in next Tuesday for graphics.
Okay.
Which works because next Tuesday, it's August 4th, 4 to 7 at the Rutland Fairgrounds is National Night Out. And we will be there for the cruiser competition. So we will have a brand new cruiser.
Wait, what's the cruiser competition?
They started a couple of years ago, and it's basically Sheriff's Department, VSP, City, us, any other departments that go can line up their cruisers, and they basically activate their lights, sirens, and they
We're
base it
gonna win,
on.
right?
We've done well in the past.
Yeah.
City has home field advantage, obviously,
Right.
but basically the crowd cheering is kind of how they base who wins.
There's no, race around the track.
No.
No, driving it at the speed car. Nothing fun at all.
No.
No fun stuff.
We can add these to the list moving forward. We can see if we get that entered. That'd be nice.
We have a patrol applicant, person who applied to the patrol position. They're moving to background. They confirmed they're good. So we're moving them to background. And then
That sounds like you're putting them aside. You're moving them to the next step,
next
which is the
step of the
background
hiring
check.
process,
Okay.
which is the
Gotcha.
background check. And we also have a second interview tomorrow with an SRO applicant that if it goes the way I'm hoping it goes, then that person will be moving to the next step, which is background as well.
Okay.
So 3 to 4 weeks, we're hoping will be the background will be done. Then we can meet with committee to go over that.
Thank you.
Yep. And in the last 2 weeks, we've done over 20 fingerprints for parents at Rutland Town School.
Is that for field trips and volunteer stuff?
Yeah,
Good.
the
Okay.
school sent out, or I should say the supervisory union sent out an email to the entire union saying, hey, parents, understand you gotta get your fingerprints done if you're gonna go on field trips. The parents of Rutland Town took that as we have to do this today. So we ended up doing, I think, 17 in 2 days.
Okay.
And then over the last couple of days, we've had about 5 or 6. So town parents should be good.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Did you get yours done? No, no, I don't know if I'm supposed to. Don't feel just for you. We'll see. It has gone well. When they sent out that email, nobody really called in advance. They just kind of showed up in droves, so that made for a little bit of a headache. But it's nice having a machine, and it takes not a terrible amount of time. So,
Does are all of the officers qualified on it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I know Lynette used to. Does she do it too?
I have offered it to Lynette, I don't know how many times.
Yeah.
She does not want to do it. I don't know why.
she does a lot.
That's true.
So what happens when you run somebody's fingertips and the machine goes like? Would that tell you if there was? No.
No.
It goes. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say.
I
I
didn't
get sent
know
off
if
to the
they-
FBI and then comes back later.
Well, yeah, you take somebody's fingerprints and they go into a database and you guys get, oh yeah, by the way, we're looking for this person. I mean,
Yeah.
it's potential, right?
Yes, so if we're running prints on somebody and we want an immediate answer, we will call FBI and say, hey, here's the fingerprint number. We want those results. For this instance, it would be, I think Mike's saying it's about a month and a half, and he hears back.
Yeah.
So.
Surprised.
It just would really ruin somebody's day.
Yeah.
It would. A month
Well-
later. A month later. As far as new things, that is it.
All right. So we did have a police committee meeting, and as a result, there are a couple of things which are action items. Let's start with the defense indemnity and attorney agreement for the town police department. JP raised this and had a photo that he had taken with his phone, and I think those are in your packet. There actually turns out 2 indemnity agreements that we adopted for the police department. One was 4 years ago, one was 7 years ago. And basically, they said we didn't have any record of what happened to them. We know Josh was chair and we were meeting over at the fire department. So we didn't have records of meetings because this room was under renovation. So appropriately, we should re-adopt. My suggestion is that we run them by town council because, as I said, one's 4 years old, one's 7 years old, and we should probably update whatever. Any comments or suggestions? Matt was part of the discussion of this too. JP was as well. JP and I were both on the select board at the time. At least one of them was adopted.
Yes, the indemnity agreement, I believe.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember, I think voting on this,
Yeah.
but sometimes things get,
Yeah.
So to the best of our research, these are both things that were previously adopted.
to the best of our knowledge.
Yeah.
So, it's just, I guess. I had this thought about, well, do we need to have these reviewed? Well, maybe we should, but wasn't anything here that gave me pause, and I hate that. Knowing that everyone's been assuming these are good, I hate to suggest that there's a gap, so I would just as soon approve them, and then Kevin thinks we need to change something, I was updated.
My suggestion was that we reapprove or readopt them, so there's no question but what there's ratified. They have been in effect.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that too.
Okay, so I'm gonna move that we ratify both of these. It's the defendant and the fine, turning the fencing and the fee agreement for motor vehicles.
Okay. Motion's been made. Is there a second? And seconded. This is for both the motor vehicle use and the civil suit.
Yeah.
Civil
Can I just ask where those documents will live?
Oh, Bill's got a much better filing system than before.
Yeah.
He just gave a big sigh, and I think he knows it's coming his way, but I'd just like to know where they're gonna be.
Well, there's no reason why we couldn't do duplicates and make sure that some resides up at the police department as well.
Yeah, that'd be perfect.
That's,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, it just makes
Thank
sense. In fact, we probably also want to put them in our policy books for the select board. So
I mean,
if you could, so we'll take the action tonight, but if you could do I have something to sign here or to circulate?
I give you originals to sign.
You did, actually you did.
So this one was set up for current board signatures. This one still has the old date and it just some are used. So I think maybe you just ratified with today's date and then
And it's set up for first constable, second constable, and fire chief. You're out of it.
Yeah.
So we might want to. We can do this tonight to ratify it, but we might want to redo the.
perhaps we want to just notify Sharon Kurt if they want.
just my suggestion, if we do it.
Yep.
Do it with the town seal on it. Just, well, if you're gonna do the copy sign, have the seal, you know.
I'm on letterhead.
On the letter.
These are the way these exist is how they came out originally.
Right.
So that's not. I didn't change any of this. This is how they were. This is how they're provided.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we can just
So
we can vote tonight to ratify them, just sign them on an updated version.
Okay. So the motion's been made to ratify these two policies. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion
I
carries.
kind of like seeing the town seal on stuff we do like that.
Yeah. And I'm going to put them in the pink folder, JP, to answer your immediate question. And I will leave the pink folder here and give it to Bill, or give it to Bill, but I will not take it home, which I have been accused of doing, not by you necessarily.
There was a period of time, I mean, when policies were adopted, this goes back to my time here since 2002, and they vanished into nowhere.
Yes.
We went back and redid a whole bunch of fire alarm ordinance stuff and had to redo it. And I know that I did them right, and I know that we went back and redid them, and then nobody could find them, and we did them again. So I do believe that Bill has a much better system of where this stuff goes.
We've come a long way.
Yes.
Do we send it now and again later, or are we just gonna do this later?
Well, one is, I was going to put ratify here.
We're gonna have to sign it again when he changes it on board, but at least we'll sign it tonight.
They have to send it to. Okay.
Right. Do we, so this has every officer on, does every new officer hire have to sign on when they're hired, or is this, I mean, or can we just let the chief sign for the department? No.
The chief sign it.
He said, yeah.
Yeah.
We just had the
What he
chief
said.
say what he said.
What he said.
Quick headache.
Yeah.
Don't be doing, I'm gonna sign it anyways, just heck, that's so at least there's a board equivalent.
Oh, yeah. That one, sure.
You got it.
There you go. That's okay.
Signatures are cheap.
So yeah, they won't go to jail. What the heck?
Don't be bringing us. We'll be in good company.
Okay, thank you.
JP, you gotta sign this. Your name.
Yeah,
You're a constable.
yeah.
If you're gonna get away, sit down in the back of the room, do nothing. Oh, no. Everybody. But at least we're all here tonight, so it's.
Another matter that came up at our police committee meeting and also brought to our attention by JP is F, action items. And this was well, we were doing the personnel policy, Matt and I, a while ago, which we choose to not think about too much. JP brought to our attention, and we didn't take action on it at the time, and we should have done, that police officer retention is treated under state statute differently once they've been hired and hired for at least a year. And we did not modify the personnel policy to reflect that there's a little bit of difference on how police officers are treated. So I did email Kevin, and actually he replied from the Grand Tetons before he was home. And he agreed, you're correct. And he will do a revision for our personnel policy so we can get that done.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you for calling it to our attention. So that takes care of those two items. We are in ongoing discussion about what we do in the future in the upcoming budget year. I know it's hard to think about. We just started one, but we've got another budget year coming up beginning in September, October. A possible pay scale to compete, maybe not directly, but compete at our level for how we compensate our police officers and give them some certainty so that we can attract good qualified folks and not have them, offered better positions, higher paying positions in the city and in other areas. But also mindful that we are not the city and we are not in that ability to pay scale. But anyway, so those are ongoing discussions that will probably be hitting more in September, October, and what we do with it. And then we'll be bringing recommendations to the full board. What else? I think we have, the issue came up about the open meeting law and the availability of, and it came up because we were looking for these policies that we couldn't find. The open meeting law and how long well, I guess they're all related, but the records retention of the digital recording of all committee meetings, not just the select board, how long we retain them, what the state statute says about them. And it had been our practice, and there was a change in the state statute last year. It had been our practice to, once the minutes were adopted for the select board meeting, to then destroy the record because we did recording because we didn't need any. The change in the law, the question has come up whether we should be retaining, once we have the minutes, whether we should be retaining the digital recording, ad infinitum. And what our policy is and how it meshes or not with the state statute on that. So
I sent a message to VLCT. They said, great question. Here's someone at the state to ask. I sent a message to the person at the state who said it, it gave me basically the statute, which I said, thank you. But I gave them the scenario, like it comes down to are the committees considered an advisory body or not? And the definition doesn't make it exceedingly clear. So I asked them again and they're like, interesting question. We'll get back to you.
Yeah.
So they have not responded with a follow-up as of yet.
As it also came up whether we should be adopting the minutes or approving the minutes of our subcommittee meetings, but we don't.
No,
Who
because
does it?
they're
There's no
just
quorum.
they're informational,
Well,
and they're not like, there's nothing there. It's just all it is a review or an account of what was discussed. If the committee finds something worth bringing to the board's attention, which we often do, we always do. You ask us to review something and then the board votes on it. I mean, no action can be taken by a committee because there's only two of us. And so to me, the committee meetings are gathering information and fact finding and not any kind of,
It's not a final decision.
No, there's nothing that can. So if our police committee meets with the police department and they want to buy a cruiser, they come to the full board and said, this is what we discussed. Highway comes and we want to buy an excavator. We come to the board and how do we go forward? So I don't know. I mean, do we keep the copies that Bill transcribes from the recordings for the committee meetings? I don't know, because we always review them in this meeting.
Keep these minutes get kept.
Right.
Yeah.
The question is,
Do we need to keep the minutes from the committee meeting? Well, recording, I mean,
and so there's sort of the third question.
Why not?
which is-
I mean, you know as well as I do that if something comes up that you got to get in the weeds on, the minutes will leave you frustrated as to detail. Whereas with today's electronic storage, it would seem to me more prudent to have those things so that we can reference them.
Which is, I was gonna say, that's the third question is like, what is the technological? Is there any reason, do we have any capacity limit?
Well, yeah, it's going to be a yes and no question. Currently, with the server we have that is the hardware-based server in-house, yes, we do. As we start migrating more things away from physical server to cloud-based servers, the entirety of the videos that I have to date, just board meeting and planning commission meetings, well exceed the regular limit that we're allocated as part of our regular license. So as it stands now, for me to move those things to a digital base from our server, we will incur an ongoing and forever ongoing software license increase, and it perpetually will increase. If we've kept all the committee meetings, I can't even tell you how much data that was. So the cost of this, Tenor was today, like it's not even as much as what you're doing, it's how long you want to keep it for, and how much you want of it. So the meetings, the board meetings and planning commission meetings, we upload to YouTube just because it's an easy place for people to access it, and more people watch there than probably go read the minutes online. The committee meetings, we could do that as well. And if you want, but I don't know if that would be considered like a permanent
public.
But when once you upload those, do we still keep it somewhere on our server?
Yes,
or?
the board meetings and planning commission meetings, yes, I do.
So yeah, I guess I would want to know, like, what kind of cost we would be looking at, because it's the data I would think would be pretty significant.
I never really looked into it because I started looking at that day as this is part of what we're moving towards, away from physical hardware and the cloud storage, because that makes it easier for everybody to get to it.
Does it cost to upload it to YouTube?
Well, that would suffice.
It might, I
But
mean, that's
it's-
part of the question, I think, for League of Cities and Towns. too.
I mean, I don't know if YouTube would consider it permanent storage.
Yeah,
Like that's, if they decide one day they're done, then.
But if our policy doesn't, I mean, that's the issue, is if they go hand in hand, like we
So-
could adopt a policy for that says, we're just gonna upload them and delete. You know,
That's
so that
it.
we're not having to pay.
The typical handling of the videos for committees was. There was a lot, there's always been conversation with state about record retention, and so they become a transitory record once you go through the meeting and you review the minutes and there's no changes. Anything used to create the minutes become transitory and has zero, there's zero retention policy for it. It says like zero, if there's zero retention for it, it doesn't have to be kept.
Yes.
I could see keeping board meetings where we make
Select
decisions, but committee meetings, no, because committee meetings are just discussions about stuff, and then because there's no action taken, maybe something gets missed once in a while, but I don't think that, if there's an issue that any department wants to push and it gets brought before the full board and we don't do anything, then that department's gonna, they're gonna have to, keep pushing for, if you want something, and we don't, then they're gonna have to ask us to make, through the committee process, that's how you get there. I mean, that's what I thought the committee's report, and it took us, and I use highway because it took us 1.5 years, almost 2 years to get the excavator. We knew we were gonna buy this machine and we just, then all of a sudden the support fell away and we ended up on the voters. So if there's something a committee or a department wants, if police need something or a policy, if you want to look into this, how we pay officers and they have an idea how they're going to be paid over the next 10 years, and that's something there's structure for that out there, then it needs to be brought to the board for a vote. The committee has to decide to bring that to and bring it before the whole board. So what goes on in the committee is just fact finding, but these meetings, I can see we're keeping maybe the digital records. When when Bill transcribes them from the video to the paperwork, something might get missed, but that's the whole reason that we sit down and read them when we're supposed to. I mean, I try to read the minutes every in between and see, this was wrong. And so are we just do we need to make more work and more expense and not really end up with anything more value? I know there's some stuff that was missing, or whatever, but it's not like we miss anything critical. We decided tonight, we've made some votes, we discussed stuff, and that'll all be part of the minutes. So we, if you want to keep those, but at some point we're going to be overburdened with information. Accessibility to it is pretty easy, but I don't know what we actually need to keep.
well, we'll get some answers too, I think, from the league.
Can I ask a question? So going back to the police committee meeting.
Isn't there a way to transcribe like the meetings from Zoom and stuff? You can transcribe them like digitally, right?
Not within the capability of the license that we currently own.
Okay.
Okay.
So correct me if I'm wrong, and JP included, but there's from the procedural side of it, right, which was what JP had raised in the police committee meeting, the minutes have to be approved in order to hit the 30-day timer of when you can get rid of the video, right?
And that's what got us into the discussion of who would approve just a committee meeting because it's only advisory. So we get it, and I think we can do something with the select board minutes.
But if you say not to approve the committee meeting minutes, which I understand your point to it, I absolutely do, but doesn't that then mean you have to keep the videos because you're not actually approving the minutes?
I think that
Transitory record thing said it.
And then it comes back to what is the committee? Is it advisory or not? Like there's definitions which even the person at the state in the record retention said, I'm going to have to get back to you. Like, I can't answer that question right now.
I asked them a question differently on that, and they said, which was clearly within their purview, and they just said, we're not going to have a problem.
So the point is, we're looking into it.
Right.
Some of the things that go on
We were
committees,
asked to, so.
I do believe
I just want to make sure I
that
understand this.
it's, if there's something you guys bring up at a committee and it doesn't get to the full board, it's inherent on you guys to bring it back up and say, we missed this didn't get in there, we want to discuss it. Usually, in this sheet right here that's printed out, I'm sure you've read it. See, so if there's anything on here that's missing, then you need to let's say, hey, we discussed this at length and we need to discuss it, or if there's something you want voted on. And it's the same, I think, with highway. Usually, when we have a highway committee, which we did last week, we'll go over the minutes. I'll go over usually I do it because nobody else wants to talk about it. Anyway, and if anything is missed, they will know. So everybody has to take a little responsibility for their particular department, and I know this retention thing is very, very important to you guys. And it will help with future employment of officers if they know how they're going to be treated over the next, whatever the process goes. And so we need to figure out how we're going to do that, how we're going to pay for it, and move forward. I think the town has a responsibility to try to be as competitive as we can be without bankruptcy. And I will, since this will be recorded and everybody, I would support and I would encourage the rest of the board to think about starting to look at the 1% money. For the last 4 or 5 years, we have come in above our predictions, allocating a certain percentage, a certain amount of that money, whether we do it in percentage or dollar figure, toward offsetting our police budget. Right now, we're using that money 100% goes toward the general fund budget. The excess, and that's what I brought up earlier, that excess, I don't really always like seeing that just rolled over into the capital improvement, because once it goes there, you can't use it for other things. So we might need, I would like to see us make a decision to say we're going to spend X number of dollars, or we're going to allocate X number of dollars from the 1% toward offsetting the police budget. Our police department is going to keep growing. It is going to be a very expensive department. It has to be, because our services from other agencies, the state police and anyone else, are not getting better. They're declining. And we are going to eventually be looking at more officers, and we need to figure out a way to make it cost effective. I'm not going to spend money we don't have, but I do hope that once Walmart is built, our 1% monies will increase, and we would, we're talking 3 or 4 years. We're going to have 2 or 3 years of roughly.
We're also getting what, $600,000.
We're going to get 5 years, 5 years for an additional person. I'm thinking if we need to start looking at, I guess, putting some of the 1% money. I was thinking $100,000 a year toward the PD's budget to help with the salary increases and help with and lessen the burden on the town. And so that's my proposal. We can talk about it. It's out there.
Well, the police committee does have it as something.
Well, I want to make sure everybody knows.
You've said it now for the past 3 meetings, so yeah, good.
Yeah,
good.
I mean, it's on the record
It won't get lost.
So anyway.
The other thing we have to consider, and I've been thinking about this actually quite a bit, and that is what happens if the voters vote down any particular budget, and it has happened. And what do we then do, and what's the priority? Do we keep the senior officers? Do we do cuts across the board? What if you do a schedule, you've got to address what happens if the voters vote it down. So just build all of that into your thinking as you're doing it.
A lot of it's like the school budget, and then get voted down, and then what, they try to come back with a modified budget.
Yeah, and they and most of theirs would be the same. It's in personnel. So you can delay a cruiser, but that isn't going to address a big budget cut if that should ever happen. So we have to anticipate something like that quick. So, all right, so that's our discussion on it. Do we have anything
else?
Miss
anything you want to talk about?
Yeah. Did we cover everything?
Yeah, I think we did.
Okay, okay.
I'm pretty sure we did.
Alrighty, so we should get on to the other departments.
So
Yes. Oh, anything
If I-
else? Yeah.
if I halt, does this whole thing grind to a halt, or can you guys continue to, is
Um,
there anything else you need me to
Yeah,
vote
let me
on?
just check. We've done
Imagine 50 minutes
ABC.
going.
D is
My family will be right back.
deferred bill. What do we have in the paint folder here?
Is there anything else you got to vote on?
You have Nemrick, Rainier, reimbursement request.
Reimbursement request.
Yeah.
This is for the
JP sidewalk.
JP sidewalk, speaking of whom.
Yeah.
You do know it's called JP sidewalk. Yeah.
Does he get like a plaque or anything for that?
Not yet.
I know, we gotta build it down.
And a cake. He's gonna want a cake.
Everyone needs cake.
It's right now, for the warehouses.
Yeah. This is item 5 in your packet. This is the
No,
invoice
it
for
didn't make it into the package, just came this morning.
Oh,
so-
I've got it.
So you
I've got it.
yeah.
So it's a reimbursement request for $6,486.66. It is for work on the sidewalk regional commission. Motion's been made to approve and to authorize the
Yeah,
chair
you
to
sign on behalf of the town, seeing as though she's going to deal anyway.
Right, good point.
Michael go for a lot of stuff.
All right, I take that as a second. All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
So, just PD, have we used the drone for anything yet?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Several
Yes.
things.
The big incident in Brandon,
The what?
the big incident in Brandon.
Oh, yeah, when I
Double
went by
stabbing.
in Pittsford on my way to the doctor.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, I knew it was you, and I said, it's gotta be big, they want the dog.
Yeah.
I think that thing was up within 20 minutes of the call going out.
Good.
We had it up and going, so.
Did a couple things to do that in terms of critical and stuff like that. The town city thing at Northwood, the Friday Night Live, he had that going on with the I don't know if you're up there, but he had the controller connected to a giant TV, and the live view of the drone was able to be seen right there. So it's a nice little demonstration for
And
that.
zoomed right in as I was,
Yep.
and I think I actually did make the basket.
That's for the recording of that if there is one. And he'll have it as the August 16th event as well. Do the same thing next to the TV and doing demonstrations flying around all the time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Pretty impressive. And it's a good feature to have that you can share with other communities.
Yes.
We're gonna ask public records law implications.
That's good. It's better off.
We have a policy, yeah, we have a policy that goes over all that fun stuff.
Matt, you've got a couple of pictures of furniture for the Pocket Park. Barbara's going to talk about that, but basically we're going to, we're going to lose the ability to, here's the question. Can we order this? Is this what you think is appropriate for the Pocket Park? Pardon?
Purchasing policy says we can order it.
Oh, that's true, because it's under a certain amount, but we wanted you folks to know what we're thinking. These are heavy duty plastic. And all of it, so it's less susceptible to vandalism. That's for the tables. There's a handicapped accessible table, another picnic table. This is metal, the 3-wave bike loop, and the courtyard bench with that, that's also metal. Oh, and we're also requesting, but we haven't seen the quote. We're gonna go out to get quotes on the fencing, which will be vertical fencing. So, but we're waiting for a few more steps from.
Yeah, back to Robert Clark.
All right. Thank you. We'll just move it. Oh, you guys done?
Are you done?
Thank you.
Are you done?
Thank you.
Yes, we're done.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Okay, Dave Sears, Town Hall Commissioner.
I'm still here.
All right, we're losing our quorum, so.
I see that. I don't think I want to spend any money tonight, so it's okay.
We planned it that way.
All right, perfect. So, because breakfast is on its way, I'm going to be really quick because we had, in reference to your last discussion, a 3-hour and 15-minute committee meeting that Joe has to go over, which is 2 pages long. So, put that on the cloud somewhere and hang on to that forever. So we had a a couple tree issues over the last couple weeks. One on West Proctor Road. Had a guy that was delivering sheds apparently to Proctor, and he kept hitting some low-lying branches. So we went over and took care of the bulk of those branches. Well, it was a box alder, so they're probably grown back in the road by now. But anyway.
Yeah.
And then we had another one on Sugarwood Hill that went down, got hung up in the wires. By the time GMP got there, we waited longer for GMP than it took us to clean the stupid thing up. So that's that. I don't know if you noticed, there was an awful ugly crater type thing growing on Chesana Drive. We paved that Thursday and finished it yesterday. Hopefully made some people happy, but generally when you pave, you don't make anybody happy. So we've moved on from that. We spent some time screening some wrap that we had to pile because we got 20,000 square yards coming as soon as they start the project on Susan and that neighborhood. And just as an FYI, we're going to start mowing next week, roadside mowing. Much to everyone's delight. And then committee meeting, Joe.
Okay. So we discussed at length the development across from the town school, and we discussed that already. So pretty much, they're looking hopefully for some things, and the committee supports the extension of the water main and the sewer main if that is what they've decide to do. The city, I think, would be on board because that'll get rid of the dead end main at the school, which they're all in favor of. And we discussed the Northwood Park shared use path. Robert's gone over some stuff with Dave. They're going to go up together. They're going to do some marking out. So one of the things that kind of set this off a little bit was the need for a stormwater retention pond in the sand pit. And water doesn't travel up there anywhere, but if at some point we were to pave that shared use path, that could create some additional runoff. So they'll be working on that. I appreciate the fact that Dave didn't go out and just spent money on something that we may or may not need it, but we've got that all under control now.
I'm sorry, is that
the shared use
path compliance with?
Well, there's some things, I don't know, there's some Act 250 stuff, but some of it's stormwater stuff. And they did not put in the stormwater ponds. Yeah. And part of that was, do we really need them? So Dave asked some questions and Robert explained the need and why it's got to be done. So they're going to get it all done. Okay. The pumping station down on Route 7 that Dave brought up 4 weeks ago. The plan is probably to have Otter Creek look at that. We may redesign that, put some kind of vault in there to make future replacement of valves and fittings way simpler than what it is now. And
where is it?
It's right in the vicinity of where Big Lenny used to park on Route 7. There's a vault there for the pumping station.
Yep.
It's a 6 or 8 inch force main, and there's some leakage in there that's got to be fixed. So we need to get it. The thought is redesign it to a more usable, repair friendly. This is not a repair friendly system they put in.
Is this water or sewer?
Sewer.
Sewer.
So
we got enough money in our sewer?
We got some back.
Well, that's true.
So we don't know what the cost is going to be, but it's one of those things. We could put a Band-Aid on it, try to fix the valves that are there, and then they break next week again and we start over. And if we're looking at maybe this development happening and some additional sewage, we should probably make this right and do it just one time. It is a poorly designed system, and it would not be designed that way now.
Yeah.
This is when the school got the sewer line done and Cooley did it, and then they went bankrupt and somebody else had to finish it. So it was, I think, my personal thing, I think it was just a shortcut to get done because it was expensive. We decided to go along with the upgrading of that short section of Quarter Line Road to Class 3.
Okay.
So I do believe we have.
What's put on the agenda for next time, because you already need to vote on that.
We are going to need to vote on that, but that's a minor thing.
Is that above my property too.
It's somewhere in that
It's
dirt.
somewhere.
Somewhere in that dirt section that it goes from 3 to 4 to 3, and somebody in the state that has a whole lot of free time noticed this glitch and said we gotta fix it, so we were unanimous in yes, this will fix
So
it.
is it going to then make the whole stretch of quarter line in Rutland Town and Clarendon?
No, it's just what we can, we can't take
Well, we
any,
can't do Clarendon, but isn't theirs all class 3?
I have no clue. I think theirs might be class 4.
And they were pounding on us.
Well, because ours goes from 3 to 4 to 3, and they don't understand, I guess. Is that pretty close, Dave?
Yeah, we've got, they've actually got a map that designates a section of the paved section of Quarter Line as class 4. So it's class 3 from Boardman Hill up to a point. Then it changes to class 4 on a paved portion, then back to class 3, then back to class 4 when it gets to dirt. But then, and actually a different map that they have shows a portion of the dirt as still class 3. It's the whole thing. It's a janky map.
This is the best solution. It is a tremendous.
Yeah.
But
Go through the process.
And we're going to get about $100 a year more.
Well,
we're going to have like $300 on certified letters to do this.
I know.
It's fine.
Yeah. But we'll just get this little monkey gone and we'll be done with it. Discuss the bridge and culvert inventory, and Dave working with Regional Planning Commission. So what we're hoping is to identify any of these short structures, also known as box culverts, that we will need to replace in the future, so we can look into our possible depreciation funds for huge expenses like the $500,000, $400,000 Stratton Road project. So that is going to work out actually pretty good.
Okay.
We discussed salt for the upcoming winter, and it seems funny when it's 97 degrees and Dave's talking salt, but he has worked talking with a vendor in Albany. One of our contractors, Hubbard Brothers, is coming back empty, so we're working on them back hauling salt to
that's a
town.
good idea.
That hasn't started yet, has it, Dave, or did it?
Has not.
Has not. Okay, I knew they
It was
had
supposed to start this week, but I think the weather forecast has deterred that because we don't really want wet salt.
So that'll be weather permitting, they will be hauling that stuff back. We discussed the park at length about grass seeding and putting in roads and pouring concrete and picnic tables that we talked about, and anchor them down so they don't head to Proctor, Pittsford, or points beyond. If the water gets that high, it's going to be
We're
an awful.
screwed anyway.
Yeah. So there was this lengthy discussion about some hydrants that needed to be replaced, and it is probably going to be the city that will replace those for us, especially if trench boxes are needed and work like that.
We contract with the city to do it.
Replace it. Yeah.
Can I ask a quick hydrant question real quick from the former fire chief? Do you guys really care about, how do I say this? Do you care about the color of a hydrant? And I'm asking because somebody on Chesana Drive painted a hydrant red, white, and blue. And it's not, it's not really horrible, but it's not really great either. And
if you get into the NFPA's classification of hydrants, the color indicates the water flow of the hydrant. And if you understand that system, painting them multicolors would confuse the daylights out of somebody that knew what the colors meant.
okay.
Right?
We will make that adjustment.
Yeah. No one.
I suggest you not make that adjustment until after the 250th anniversary year is over.
We can find other things for him in the meantime.
Yeah.
Technically, I don't believe anybody should be painting
Town.
the fire hydrants. Right. Because once you start in one color, you might get some abstracts out there that could confuse us. So then well, that's the hydrant work. Dave's going to take care of getting that done. And then there's some small hand tools and stuff and that the town no longer uses. Dave was just trying to figure out, they're going to post them on Facebook or or somewhere to see if people are interested with this stuff. They're not having real, it's not like.
Townwide celebration.
There you go, bring them up and
sale.
put them on a
Yeah.
There we
table.
go.
Yeah. It's not stuff worth, it's not like trying to sell a truck or.
Yeah, no, but that's, I mean, people like that kind of stuff.
And then we talked about the flashing crosswalk signs out here. And when we come to budget time, I'm either gonna make a proposal that we take and pay for them out of the capital improvement fund, or we put it into something, because there's enough people using this road out here that we need to have those signs up. And you're going to be installing your weather monitoring signs at some point, and we were talking about speed signs that could be put with those, but they run at about $6,000 a piece, so we have to decide but those could be added later. So the weather stations are going to be in key locations, Grove Street, possibly Creek Road, places where having the speed signs up there that are solar powered, but they're about 6,000 pieces.
But there was something that came across somebody's desk via email. There was some grant program coming up that might provide money for such.
We've looked at the speed signs. So
Yeah,
the police department has the highway safety program.
right, that's it.
And
Yeah.
there's some new and better eligibility for some things.
Okay.
What it depends upon how much time they put into it, how much we get out of it. So to get the benefit of several signs would take a lot of them.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So it's number of hours, and they're all willing to do that, because now it used to be limited to state highways. Now
Yes, now smaller side roads.
Problem roads.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
and
we should put that on the police committee agenda so we can talk about it next time too.
but then I'll talk about that, because they could buy. There's a newer speed cart that they could get. They can move around. That's a better and these new ones would be connected, so we get live data rather than having to go to the sign and plug it in and download the data. We can get data from it in real time. So
yeah. And like I said, the crosswalk out here, those signs are roughly about $10,000. So we need to do that. It's funny because somebody needs to send the city a note at Tenny Brook, where Goodwill is. They need a crosswalk there.
Okay.
The number of people going across Route 7 there is unbelievable, and they're dodging cars like
that's the problem we have here. People just don't stop.
Yeah.
And the next crosswalk to the east is Columbian Avenue by State Street.
Yeah.
The next one to the west is West Rutland.
Yeah.
So this is it. It's the only place to get across.
So anyway, but I think so. You went up to Windmere and did some fragmite cuts, didn't you, Dave?
Oh, nice.
We did, yes. It was exhilarating.
Is that in anticipation of the work that we're going to be doing up there? Or it's on the list for MS4. I've been asking Andres and Watershed Consulting for years, like, what do I need to do with that? And they never would give me an answer. And I finally got it out of them when we had our on-site meeting back in the spring. So I wasn't entirely sure that this whole expansion thing was going to happen. And to be honest with you, I'm totally not convinced it's going to now. So I said, well, this is something we were supposed to be doing, but nobody ever actually told me what that was. So we're going to go up and kind of take care of some of this stuff. So that's why we did it. Okay. And you did hear that we approved the contract for the work they want to try to get done there, so we can use that one.
I did, but they're going to double the size of that thing in 5 weeks. I find that hard to believe, but okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be a quick haul.
If they don't get it done, they don't get paid.
Yeah, well, I've looked at the scope of work for that thing, and there's a lot of stuff in there one of the things they have to do is dig all the muck out of the bottom of that. And at some point in there's gravel or stone or something. They got to dig all the muck out of there and then dry it and then run it through a screen and put it back in. They got to get all the roots and all the stumps and all of the crap out of it.
No way.
And I'm not even exaggerating. We were in the water up to our waist. And the muck and it was there, if they had 2 months of dry weather, I'd be surprised if they got all that stuff dry. So to say that they're going to do all that in 5 weeks, if they do, they need a bonus because that's a tall climb right there.
So that, all the high points of our 3-hour meeting.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you guys. Have a good night.
Thanks,
Yep.
Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
All right. Barbara Noise Pulling. Speaking of Pocket Park.
Well, you stole all my thunder there, Mary. Such as it is really not too much. Just some rumbling, some activity on that. But I did want to tell Bill that if he wants to continue drilling down on the open meeting law and advisory groups and non-advisory groups, the Secretary of State's office is all over the open meeting law. So
yeah, so it's not even open meeting law. It's the records retention. It's the after the meeting's over. It's how we handle it. So we have no problem with the access to the meeting. It's what do we do with the recording of the committee meeting once the minutes are approved.
Yeah, I think they can help you with that too.
Okay.
We might have created our own issue there because we probably didn't have to warn and record and provide minutes for the select board subcommittees, but we did because we wanted the public to be aware of it and in case the third select board member wandered into it. So, and now we're kind of
the
like
meeting we had the other day.
That's right.
There was 3 of us.
There were 3 of us.
Technically, that's a warned meeting.
That's right.
And if something we did come up, we could have voted.
Could have, yeah.
Yeah. So I think warning the meetings, taking minutes is okay, but this committee meeting and treating them the same as a board meeting is not necessary.
You're right.
They're the board meeting, maybe we need to do something, keep those recordings for a while.
Yeah, it sounds like we probably should.
Yeah,
So,
but I wouldn't, anything where we're gonna take action, yes. Anything where it's just advisory or informational, no. And
So with the subdivision bylaws, going back to that briefly, during this meeting, I was checking on state statute there. If you make any minor changes to the proposed bylaw, you shall not do it less than 14 days prior to the final public hearing.
okay.
And and that's scheduled for August 11th, which is primary election day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think we might have to do a different final one or possibly send it back to the planning commission because Marie raised a fair point about that section B under exemptions and when combining or not combining lots. So that really does kind of need a closer look.
Yeah.
So we might not be adopting the bylaws right after our meeting on the 11th.
But you might have to have another public hearing, a third
We
one.
probably would. We probably would have to, yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately. It doesn't.
you put this much work into them, we might as well get them right the first time.
Right.
Yeah, and then there's a time factor of going back to the planning commission. And we need to change some of the reporting that's been done. So, our meetings aren't synced up perfectly. So there's that factor too.
Yeah.
We're working through the final design and the equipment for that. I still need to get with GMP on where the kiosk is. And once we get that settled, we'll have a better idea of how much signage we will have initially here with the Pocket Park. And, yeah, we will have to remember the DAR watering trough and fitting that in the design and into everyone's schedule.
Well, actually, Bill had a good suggestion, and that is use the fire department on a drill night to use your inflatable airbags to raise the thing up and put blocking underneath it to make it easier for Dave and the highway crew to move the thing. So
I gotta see this.
Well,
Right now you don't.
it's kind of wet. Okay. Anyway, a lot of good suggestions, a lot of good ideas, and this thing could happen. So
Yep, we're all still holding out hope.
yes.
Yeah, so there's plenty of things to go on the kiosk, even before we even touch the history of the area. I mean, we've got the carry in, carry out factor. We've got some signage that's being patrolled by police and the hours, dawn to dusk, and we need a nice welcoming part of it. So, yeah. So the planning commission will work on that stuff.
Suggestion that was made to me about this was lighting. Maybe look into some kind of solar lighting, street lights or something out there to help minimize them within the nighttime activities.
Yeah. Not on the kiosk so much, but
in that general area that's cleared and because once you make that accessible and you make it nicer, you're going to have uninvited guests and they aren't going to be wildlife.
Well, do we have that at Northwood anyway? And how do we deal with it at Northwood and at Dewey?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
This area has a small reputation of
yes, it does.
Problems there.
Yes.
And so yeah, our activity there will maybe help minimize them, but I'm just thinking, we could look into some solar powered street lights and it would be expensive, not real expensive probably to buy, and most of them will stay on most of the night. I mean, rather than tie them into GMP and add them to our street light amount. But Center Rutland is the only area of Rutland town that I believe has street lights. I do not believe there's anywhere else, is it, that I know of? Because I know when I look at our general fund, there's that cost for streetlights.
Yeah, it is.
Not many. Huh? Not many, but there are some that we're paying for streetlights for electricity.
Streetlights and traffic lights.
And if we end up asking GMP to go set a couple of poles and we buy a couple of lights and hook them to, they're not going to use that much power. But I just think that nighttime security there would be better. It would be a good place.
Well, it's
and it doesn't have to happen.
Well, it could be a phase 2 or phase 1.5.
Whatever.
Yeah, we'll find out more as we actually get the place put together. Right. Anything else? That was fun furniture shopping, I must say. Bill had to sit here with.
Funny, I get this when I was in the fire department.
Oh, yeah.
Somehow I got tied up with this Uniline.
Yeah.
The catalogs are about this thick, and I get I've got to call them and tell them I'm not chief anymore and I don't need these book stops.
I used to get them too, and I can't remember why.
Yeah,
So.
but anyway,
Yeah.
So that's.
Anything else, Barbara?
No, that's it.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, and thank the Planning Commission for all of your work.
Okay.
Much appreciated.
So are we going to order these at some point?
Yes. What we're waiting for is, this is, what we're waiting for, and particularly we need to get ordered, are the fence panels. But we need to go through local vendors because they're going to have to do the whole installation. So we need to get bids on installing the fencing. We're going to give them a suggested, this is kind of what we want it to look like, as opposed to specifying exactly, who they have to buy it from. And then we'll be able to, we have questions out to Robert Clark about the, concrete base.
Yeah, we
And-
discussed that at length here last.
Well, yes,
last
you were
Tuesday.
there, so.
So, no,
So
I'm
that's
just
the
thinking
plan,
that,
and I don't think Robert has gotten back
He is
in
not,
touch
no.
with you.
He's not. But the point, what I was making, if we order these, you'll want these in place if we're going to put tables and this stuff's all gonna be like anchored on concrete.
Yes.
So once we get them, then
Yes.
we can figure out what the pads are gonna look like.
So I sent Robert
Yeah.
all of the direct links to these products.
Yeah.
I said, we need a concrete detail for the retaining wall, for the height of the base, because that affects the height of the panels.
Mhm.
We need a detail for the bench, these 4 things, and for the trough for poured concrete. We're gonna go through, I don't think our minimum is gonna be too hard to meet at this point.
Right.
But it may be more advantageous to have a concrete pad poured right by the retaining wall for, we're gonna have 2 picnic tables at least, plus the bench. I mean, it may be that we just have a bigger area poured, so it's get a little more flexible. I don't know, but so
It's the kind of thing I think it should go down there and I know he did some map work and decide where stuff wants to go and how you want to do it. And he may, whether or not they can get him, they should be able to give him information on what we need for a base, but you may end up having to have these in hand to say, okay, this is what we need.
yeah, so the links that have all the dimensions for the
Yes.
tables in there and the bench and the bike rack have obviously fixed feet. The other ones you can obviously turn if we need to fit that, but yeah, but he hasn't gotten back to me yet, so we'll wait to hear.
Anything on public safety building?
Other than I need to get a hold of Neil and Green and see if we have a schedule yet.
Oh, to get them in here, yeah.
Yeah, I've not heard back from them.
Bill Sweet, town administrator.
Hi. We done pretty well. We got through the whole packet.
Did okay.
Got through all the action items. So I will be gone next week.
Okay,
So we need to do the meeting agenda for the 11th this week,
okay, yeah.
but it's going to be short. Because
Yes,
it's going to be
because
abbreviated
it's
meeting.
it's like what time did we say we were gonna meet on the 11th?
6.
At 6.
And we're going to do we're one of the public hearing for 6:30 again.
But we pretty much have to get out of here by the time polls
Before
close
7.
because they do counting up.
Right.
here. So it's
So
actually a little bit later than
My-
that by the time stuff comes over.
my thought was I would send a message to the department head saying, if you have something you want to bring up to the meeting, send it to me and they don't have to come. And
I think that's fine. Basically, what we have to do is we have to pay the people
Yep.
and we have to pay the bills.
Yep.
And anything else
Yep.
is,
extra.
okay.
And I think that they'll just work and.
So you're back for that meeting,
Yes,
but you're gone next
I'm
week.
just gone next week,
Okay.
Monday through Friday.
All right.
I'll be out of state.
Okay.
And the pocket park things, that was everything I had. Everything else.
Okay. We do have a thank you note.
Oh, yes, we do.
From Bridget Parks. Thank you for the scholarship and for helping me further my education. Here we are. And I think our meeting fell apart quite a while ago, but still.
Yeah, so we got everything done, we got people paid, we got everything signed,
we
that
got
needed
the
to be
stuff.
signed, I believe
Yeah.
we're all good, we got 3 signatures,
Yep.
that's all we need.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're good.
We
Move
got
to
you
adjourn.
proclaimed.
We can't even vote.
We can't even vote on it. Okay.
This
The
will be
meeting is
suspended,
over at
suspended at
13 minutes to 9.
Yes.